We're here. It's February. Get used to it. I think that's how that goes, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's the giant Bombcast. I'm Jeff Gerstmann, your host through the world of video games.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, not just through the world in general.
Like,
Jeff Bacalar. What
like,
are
right.
you? What are you? Our guide. If I'm handling video games, what do you got?
Honestly, I don't even know anymore. I don't even know what I like anymore. I mean,
Dude,
who wants a guide? Who wants a guide that brings them through like ice hockey, heavy metal, and pinball? Who is that idiot person who's like, "Yo, sign me up for this freak show of a tour"? These are the three things I want to do.
I'm sure there's a whole section of TikTok devoted to exactly those three things in the same video.
There was one person out there who like was my doppelganger with all that, and then he's like an NFT guy now. So maybe that's like the next step, and then I just erase myself from
Condolences.
And then,
maybe you only live on the blockchain after that.
That's it. He completely transformed his entire life force onto the blockchain.
Oh man, is that what people mean now when they say the block is hot?
Yeah, I think so. No. Especially when they go,
no. Did you see that thing where someone was like, "What if we like NFT'd the shade of blue?" Or something
colors.
Like there was like some
Fuck off.
I was like, yeah, what if I drove down to City Hall and smashed in all the fucking windows? I don't know. Yeah, well, we're talking like
what if like I don't know, all the air outside, we made it taste like strawberries.
What if we copyrighted imagination itself?
Yeah.
Maybe we
What
need
if I
to
just
do that.
posted pictures of my beehole to the internet all day long? How about that?
I mean, yeah, that's called OnlyFans. I feel like
all right, I'm starting one.
All right.
Cool.
Can I get a free sub?
Hell no.
Is there like a starting tier, or is there like pay-per-view stuff you got to add on to it, or is it just one
it's a
flat?
premium live event, please?
I apologize.
No. All right.
That was
Jan
bad. By the
Jan
way.
is here, ready for his own premium live event.
Man, I think anything. I think I could just put me in entering a ring 30 times every minute, and it still might be a better show. If me just eliminating myself, putting on another T-shirt, and eliminating myself again until I eventually win.
I would watch that.
That sounds like a skit we need to record.
Yeah, can we
I
get
need
that?
to find a wrestling ring. That's probably not that hard in the Bay Area.
Yeah, no. What? Well, I don't know who's
up.
doing shows. Like, when was the last Hood Slam show?
What's the last? Oh man.
Oh,
Are there pop-up? There's pop-up like wrestling things, right? Like
Yeah, they have a
like,
bunch.
Oh, it's pop-up. Yeah.
There's one in there's one near a local gym nearby. It was like that's next to an old folks like hangout spot. And then I think not Okada. What's his name? Minoru Suzuki was there, and I was like, I had to resist because it was right around like about to be Omicron time. Like, oh, I can't.
Yeah, it was like the window was closing. You're like, I need to go see this, and you're like, oh, I super can't. No, yeah.
You're in the splash zone of all the old people that'll immediately die.
Oh, geez.
Yikes. Jess O'Brien bringing cheer to the proceedings.
First
I
and
do.
foremost.
Yeah.
That's me.
How are you doing?
Cool. I'm cool. I'm a little sleepy, but that's fine. I'm pissed off at my dad. He hung up on me when I asked him if my brother had been vaccinated yet, and he made a real fake fucking excuse to get off the phone.
Like, yeah.
It wasn't even like I'm going through a tunnel. It was like, oh, I'm behind an Amazon truck. He's in the way. Uh-oh, the guy behind me is beeping at me. I gotta go. And like there was no beeping noise on the phone. Like it's just like
It's noise cancellation on these modern, phone mics. Really something special.
Yeah, the mix minus you're doing.
Oh yeah,
wild.
It's huge.
Fuck.
It's huge. At the top of the show, you heard the work in progress version of our new theme song, courtesy of Vectroid. She's been working away on that for a while. Pretty excited about that. And it's doing its thing. It's all just doing its thing.
It's
Fucking
what I
excited.
think acai berries here when they're being blended into
Jan,
an acai bowl.
Jan, did you now? Let's unpack that joke.
It's not even a
'Cause it's-
joke. It's just my assumption.
But it's great, and I love you for it. Did you write that earlier? Had you thought
Is
was
written
that
this off the
dome?
head? You
Is
come
that
in.
off
You,
the dome?
Well, I've been
is this
thinking a
in the
lot about
notebook of
acai bowls.
things?
Jess can attest to
Okay.
this. I bring this up
It's
almost
always
every
on
run
the
for the
forefront.
hills.
I
That's mine,
love
yeah.
I
Got it.
love a nice acai bowl, and the last time we got them was when we were in the hospital. It was right after my son was born, and we had like a day to kill of just chilling in the hospital while they do tests and all that other stuff. And so we're like, well, let's get some food delivered because we can't, I can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And then there was an acai bowl place nearby, but like they had things. They were like, this is the $1 billion bowl, and it's like 40 fucking bucks.
What?
How much
and
gold flake is in it?
Yeah, it's like they're just pouring a whole bottle of Goldschlager over the whole thing, and
Oh shit!
no, I don't know.
It's drunk if there's Goldschlager in it.
Yeah, that'd be nice. No, that's it. And I love a nice one. I love to put more peanut butter on them when I'm getting one, and they
Yeah.
offer peanut butter. I'm like, you put like a little more of that on there. Why don't you?
Yeah, that's the way to do it. I rock that in all the smoothies I make here in the house. You know, hey, what do you think? Like, you think like a cup of peanut butter? Is that appropriate for what we're doing?
I was gonna say like a quarter cup.
Yeah, no, I know a cup's too much. I'm not beating around it. I also I love the powdered vanilla protein. I just put like 2 scoops of that in there too.
Damn, pro'd up.
For whatever reason, 1,000 blueberries, strawberries, and bananas,
Mm-hmm.
and we're all set.
1,000 in
Oh.
total of the combination of the
just-
3, or 1,000 each.
Yeah, I make it in a garbage pail, and
You just get one big
That's-
immersion
You
blender.
just dump it over your head after it's done, and just
and then
hell
I take
yeah.
a bath
hope
in
for the
it.
best.
That's
Yeah,
just
and
a
then I,
pre-digested peanut butter and jelly sandwich, though. Like that much peanut butter in it.
You're
and
saving
stuff.
time though. You're saving
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
Constructed, and we
Reconstruct.
smoothies are the best. They're so good. I just wish they were more filling. They're not filling enough for me.
You're not drinking enough.
Put like some meat in there. Put like a
We
quarter
put
pounder.
like spinach, not the opposite of meat, but
Spinach
we put
is not meat.
Nope, it's not.
I'm pretty
We put-
sure.
you put that in there. You I love that like smoothies are like, hey, bad ugly food that no one wants to eat. Come in here. It's gonna be great.
So
You'll
are
get in
you-
the
are you-
body, and no one will know.
Are you blending spinach with the peanut butter? Are these going together?
Yeah, you could in a,
Oh, yeah.
in a
No,
blender.
yo,
You can
get some
fucking do
kale in
whatever
there.
you want. Oh, you could
Wow.
put toothpicks in there. It don't matter. It's all gonna be fine.
That's what I'm saying. You go buy a quarter pounder
Uh-huh.
with cheese.
Uh-huh.
Throw it in there.
I don't want like 30,000 calories in my smoothie. Like that's not what I
It
want.
wasn't filling enough. I mean,
The goal is not to put in
go get a
a
7-layer
freaking Big
burrito.
Mac. I don't want to put a Mexican pizza. in
Coming
my-
to Taco Bell.
Yeah, no, I just want
Mexican
like
smoothie.
good fruits and vegetables. Someone said to add oats. I'm gonna try that. Maybe I'll add oats.
Sure. Add some
Uncooked
oats.
oats?
I don't know. What do you mean, caller?
Just put in oatmeal raisin cookies into your thing. It should probably
Overnight
do the
again.
same.
smoothies.
The sugar? No, you don't. You just want like good stuff. Get me the
There's
good
sugar and
stuff.
peanut butter.
Every time I
There
try to
is.
think about adding like instant coffee or coffee to a smoothie, it never works out. It's always a bad
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Just kind of ruins it.
Yeah, I tried doing overnight oats with coffee once. Not the biz. Not the
Overnight
biz.
I'm out.
oats.
So this is adding overnight oats to coffee, or using coffee as the base of overnight oats?
Using coffee as the base
Yeah,
instead of
I
an
could've
almond
done
milk
that.
or a water.
No, you gotta do almond
That
milk.
was like when my roommate tried to mix Metamucil into vodka. It didn't work out.
What?
Why?
Why?
Wait,
Oh,
what?
is that weird?
If it was
Word.
Pedialyte, I get it.
It did not. It is not vodka soluble. Metamucil.
Metamucil isn't soluble at all to begin with, really. You know,
You stir it into water, it kind of goes away.
a
But-
little.
Yeah.
It's gritty. It sinks.
Yeah, no,
Ugh.
it's gritty and it sinks.
I put a whole pack of Tums in my smoothies.
Why not?
That's what I do.
Yeah, your
You
tummy
know?
can't hurt then.
Yeah, it'll fix you right up. I mean, you thought that cleaning up smoothies, a smoothie machine, was a hassle before.
Oh,
Dumping
man.
Metamucil and a quarter pounder in there. and-
God.
Guess what? You've made concrete.
yeah.
All
Instead, you want
the-
the nice rib sticking meals. I mean, we live in an era of meal replacement, right? You know,
yeah. Yeah.
all these people talking about like, well, my Soylent's got this and my Soylent's got that. And it's like, well, my Soylent has fucking 3 cheeseburgers and heroin in it. And I feel great.
Yeah.
It
For
would be more
now.
filling.
You'll be energized for a week.
My intestines are on the blockchain.
Finally.
I wish I had taken one of those high-powered blenders from the GB test kitchen before all that stuff got donated or stolen by someone else.
Aw.
Yeah. Did you hear if they actually donate? I just assumed that someone went in there and stole all that shit.
I popped in, and then there was a kitchen island that Benjamin and I used a lot because
Mhm.
it's just built for filming, and that whole thing was gone.
Whole island.
Yeah, the whole island. And I was like, all right, well that must have been really hard, but I applaud whoever stole or acquired this.
Yeah.
Acquired, huh?
Just wheeled it on out. Nice. Nice.
Dug it out.
Acquisitions, huh?
I bought the Steamdeck pedal.
Ooh.
Oh, is it there?
Yeah.
What does it do for you?
Perfect.
Just paid for
God.
itself. Just paid for itself, baby.
You just you made it play that?
Yeah, it plays the horn from Trackmania.
Question why?
Well, it has 3 buttons on it. I set 2 of them to take screenshots, and then the big middle one, I was like, well, I don't know what to do with this one.
Can you make it do Wouldn't it be you should just at this point just make it be like a bass pedal, like a kick pedal. Like you might as well just have it do like a thum thum. Like
Yeah,
just do that. At least that'd be contextually appropriate.
This is clearly better though than
I mean,
that.
it would be relatively. I mean, let me see if I can find a kick drum sample here real quick.
So the 3 pedals are they like? What's this? I don't even know what this thing looks like. How's
So
it
you have
feel? What's the foot
two-
feel? What's the
Two
foot feel?
different
The foot
pedals
feel
for
is-
screenshots.
It's just kind of so it's a big center button and then 2 raised up smaller buttons on the sides, so you can kind of rest your foot on the bottom of the pedal because all the push is up top, and so it's not something you're likely to push accidentally. At least that's the hope.
Yeah.
And data
That's interesting. Look at
Patches.
that.
packs, drums, kicks.
Do you think it's where? I wonder, like, where this came out of, where they were just like, "Look, people don't have enough arms. You don't have enough arms.
Yeah, I can believe it.
Oomph.
Is that just it?
Maybe there's like people have been having too many snafus with the stream decks and stuff. They're like, you know what I need? You know what's been working? Been working in cars. Let's just get a pedal.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think I think some of the things that they are thinking you would use it for is like scene transitions in OBS or something like that. You know, you can
Okay.
kind of hit this to or unmuting or muting your Discord chat channel. And so as soon as these things went up for pre-order, I was like, well, I should get one of those. That seems like it'd be very useful. And then it showed up and I set it up and I'm like,
Never mind.
I have no idea what to do with this thing.
That's
Does
what I'm
it-
saying. Like,
You use the
I
same
also-
stream deck software? Or is it?
Yep. Yeah, it's all just built into the same
fine.
stream. So that means that it's like audio playback stuff sucks.
Yeah.
It's why I don't use it for a soundboard, is because the latency on button pushes and now foot pedal pushes is such that it sucks compared to real MIDI devices, real low latency music making MIDI devices,
Yeah,
which is if you
which
want a soundboard, spend way too much money and
You
go with the
put-
MIDI shit.
but like,
Can you put multiple different sounds on the same thing and it plays it randomly?
I believe you can do that. I
be
don't know
fun.
exactly how to do that because there's like a bunch of multi-action stuff you can set up with a Stream Deck. But I don't
So-
I
I
don't
think
have
the
that
random
stuff.
element would really bring something to the table.
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait,
Yeah, I think you're probably right. That would be pretty good. But now, now we have this kick drum sample.
Which then it's not really that's like an okay. But someone in the chat just said they use it for push to talk. No
Yeah.
fucking way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you could.
But I mean, yes, you could bind it to anything. I just don't. My brain cannot wrap around how that is somehow like the move. Where
Yeah.
you could. I mean, I guess.
I think my problem with it is again, like the latency on the presses is such that using it as push to talk seems like it might even be a little weird because you're going to push it in a heated moment and it's not going to register for a sec or a half second or something like that, and you're gonna miss it or something like that. Like it's not a precision instrument. The Stream Deck, no part of the Stream Deck is like a precision instrument. The latency on it is too high for that sort of stuff.
I didn't know there was latency issues with that
Oh,
shit.
yeah.
Issues
That sucks.
issues is maybe a strong word. I think it depends on exactly what you're looking to do with it. Because most of the things that people do with Stream Decks are not precise things. But when they showed
Right.
when they were selling, hey, here's what this thing does, one of the things they were like, oh, you could use it, you could map like the Q and E keys on your keyboard to it and then use it to lean in a first person shooter because those are lean keys in like Rainbow Six and stuff like that. And I would never want to use this for any kind of precise game thing because of the latency involved. Like that, there's just
Like,
it's not built for
if
that.
there wasn't such a latency problem, it would be pretty cool because it would. I mean, it reminds me of like Time Crisis and other arcade.
Oh,
things
yeah.
where you would like use the foot pedal to pop in and out of cover and stuff like that. Like that'd be cool if there wasn't a latency issue.
Yeah, and I do want to try it for that just to check for sure because it's. But now that I've got a sound hooked up to it and I know how I'm pushing it with my feet and how the sound is coming out the other end, it's not great.
How long would you say the latency is?
Well, for starters, it doesn't register a button push until I let go of the pedal. So it's negative edge.
Oh, I hate that. Oh.
And that's not great. And so it's me letting off that makes that sound trigger.
Weird.
Sucks.
You can't you can't change that?
That does not appear. No, I think that's just inherent to. I think just all the Stream Deck buttons generally kind of work similar to that.
I had no clue.
And I like the Stream Deck. I think it's cool, but like when you start thinking about the really crazy shit you could do with it if it was better, that's where it kind of falls apart a little bit.
I wonder if you could like hold shift on your keyboard and then add additional commands for each foot pedal.
Well, you could do. They have app specific profiles for it that will automatically switch what it does depending on I think what you what you have in your foreground or something like that. But so they do kind of try to account for some stuff like that. And I don't know, it's neat. I should go look and just remind myself how much this thing was. I want to say it was like
it's $90.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know. It's not a gigantic amount of money, but
it's not as bad as I thought it would be. But it's
I
don't want it for that price.
Yeah, I feel like unless you have very specific needs around hands-free Stream Deck stuff, and unless you have a use case very specifically in mind, I would maybe not just. I would. Yeah. That's where the money is made.
Finally,
we got there.
Yeah.
We always get there, baby.
We
all right,
do.
Let me get my socks off, and we'll start making some money.
Okay.
one day they'll make one that's the exact size of your foot, and each toe will be a different trigger for something.
That is some serious control right there.
Now that's gaming.
They need to add
That's
a camera
foot
to the
gaming.
foot pedal, so
There
you
you
can
go. Now
do a
James
pip
thinking. Yes.
of you pressing the foot pedals. That'd be
And
great.
also, if the foot pedal worked underwater, so I could use it in a bath or hot tub, that would be probably useful.
All right. Get some suction cups on it so you can just
Yeah.
stick it to the bottom of the tub.
Yep, that's where we're all thinking. Yep,
It comes with
that's where we're
springs, so
going.
you can change the resistance on it if you want it to be a lighter press or a heavier press, which I thought
Now
was
you're
kind of
speaking
nice.
my language. Now you're speaking
yeah.
my language a little bit.
Yeah, you know,
Tactile, linear.
yeah, a little tactile, a little bit.
Yeah, these are words.
Yeah, these are all words. What else is going on? Why don't we talk about some video games?
Sure.
Okay.
Nice.
The big one, Pokemon Arceus. Arceus?
Is actually Arceus because
Arceus.
apparently the katakana is Arceus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, not
Didn't think to look
Arceus.
that up,
That
but somebody told me about that.
that's being I've been bombarded with and told I'm wrong. It's actually Arceus.
There was someone from the Pokemon Company
Mm-hmm.
weighed in on this, and I don't know that I'll be able to find what he had to say about it. But no, I'm not gonna be able to find that. But I want to say that they said in the U.S. it was Arceus, but I don't actually know.
Oh,
I
anymore.
refuse. But I don't refuse playing this game. Jess and I did a quick look. It's up on the site now. And y'all, am pleasantly surprised by Pokemon Legends Arceus. I know during the Game of the Year discussions, I nominated it. And then I wound up winning top 3, where Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl was really disappointing. And I think the Pokemon Company, Game Freak, whenever they make an offshoot Pokemon game that isn't part of the main series, so it isn't introducing like a new generation or isn't like a remake of an older generation, I think they not hit it out of the park, but they always do neat things, right? Because Pokemon Go is technically an offshoot game that isn't a mainline one. Pokemon Unite, Pokemon Snap, Pokemon Pinball, right? Are all fun ideas, and they're doing a really interesting job with this by drastically switching up the flow. In your normal games, you're just on a very linear route of progressing through the gym battles to eventually get to whatever Elite Four, whatever Elite Pokemon League at the very end. And you're just kind of catching like one at a time or whatever. And like in Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, it was that same exact formula. Here in Pokemon Legends Arceus, you are still kind of in the world of Sinnoh, which is Gen 4, but way, way back in time. Jess said this during the quick look, but it is a Pokemon Isekai, meaning the main protagonist player character just drops out of the sky and has amnesia. Because, that's...
To a fantasy world
In a
from
fantasy
presumably the
world.
modern era, time travel or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back where Pokemon are still super wild and people aren't homies with them yet because
People
everyone
are scared shitless of these little freaks.
everyone
Even
is,
like the babies, everybody's like, "Don't touch that thing."
yeah, everyone is super scared of Pokemon. Like every NPC you talk to that isn't like the professor type or someone high up on the chain, they're definitely terrified.
Even the professor is like, "Holy shit, you're brave!
Yeah,
you caught 3 Pokemon. What?"
And
so are you like bringing technology with you that they don't even know about? Or are you like, I got this ball and I can
What's funny is that like you do have a
phone,
but no one comments on it. They're just like, "Oh, weird. Okay, anyway, we need you to go over here right now." And
yeah,
they have Pokeballs that were just invented, basically.
that are like wooden stuff, and they're
Cute.
doing some interesting things where it's like, yeah, it's not the balls that make the Pokemon small, it's the Pokemon. They do it. Which I don't.
Which apparently,
I don't apparently
heard.
agree. I don't agree with.
I heard that has been the canon in Japan this whole time since Pokemon Red and Green. But news to me.
News
as a
to me as well.
Westerner.
But yeah, the flow of the game is you're recruited by a professor to help build out the first Pokedex. So you're running around the world. It's a semi-open world where there's different zones to go into. And your whole objective is to catch a bunch of Pokemon and just like observe them doing different things or catch them in different ways to fill out a Pokedex. Like for instance, you have to catch a certain Pokemon X number of times or defeat them X number of times. And all the Pokemon want to kill you.
Yeah.
What? They're all
Yeah.
super aggro.
Finally.
Yeah.
child.
Why?
Like, they're attacking the child directly, and I'm like, wow, that's fucking dope. I don't know why. That's cool as hell.
It's so funny because like I came across a Psyduck, and for those that don't know what a Psyduck is, it's like kind of like a chubby little duck Pokemon.
Where have you been?
Very like friendly looking, but the first time you see a like group of them in this game, they all like an exclamation mark flashes above their heads, and they all start like kind of like booking it to you and like ready to attack you. That they had to add a dodge roll to this game because positioning is oddly super important when it comes to catching and battling the Pokemon.
I really like that element of the battles because like there's very few actual trainer battles in this, which is like a big relief because I find them pretty boring. Because a lot of the times bosses will just heal and then you're there forever going back and forth and back and forth. Like they have the first like introductory here's how battles work. Boring ass battle that I wish we as adult Pokemon fans could skip. Where it's just like
I'm on the other side of
the
fence.
This baby creature uses tackle. Your baby creature uses quick attack. Back and forth until one of them dies because you both have one attack that you can use. But yeah, there's been like 2 Pokemon battles so far, and I've been playing it for like 2-3 hours, and it's like this rules. I don't want to fight these randos that are just, the only way you could make money in the previous game basically was through Pokemon battles, and now you're making money through research and catching the Pokemon and reporting back and earning rank for how much research you've done and stuff like that. So it's a more satisfying gameplay loop for me as somebody that was more into catching them than the actual battling of them.
Yeah.
So hang on. Does that mean you are armed with a weapon? Are you like, is this HyperScape? Are you beating Pokemon with a stick and then catching them in the net? Like what?
Wish.
No, I'd say
you get a starter.
Yeah, you do choose a starter Pokemon, and it does kind of feel like a monster hunter kind of in a way where you choose to initiate battles, or if you mess up trying to catch a Pokemon, they will get aggressive, and then you can either run away or you can throw one of your Pokemon out to initiate a battle. And then it's the similar formula there where you attack the enemy of Pokemon and then bring them down to a certain health that make them easier to catch. But what Jess was saying,
is that still turn stuff? Is that all?
It's
like,
still turn based. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's
But
interesting is like during the fight, you can actually like walk around, look at the battle from different like positions.
you can get in the way and get hit by attacks.
Yeah,
which is funny.
I'm not sure, but I in my brain at least, I think that if you throw a Pokeball like at an angle like behind the enemy Pokemon while it's engaged, I think it has a better catch rate, but I'm not super sure about that.
Yeah, I thought about that too because like what I was saying earlier, positioning is very important. If you sneak up on a Pokemon and they haven't seen you yet and you bonk them in the back of the head with a Pokeball, not only does it make a very satisfying sound that I feel bad about every single time, but it increases your chances to catch them versus like them initially making eye contact and then you throwing the ball at their head.
You can get these little fuckers while they're sleeping.
Yeah,
They ain't never seen it coming. They wake up and they're in a little prison, I guess.
It's okay, yeah.
And
it's
it's
we're talking
weird.
about Dying Light 2 in a weird way, but we'll talk about that later.
It's weird seeing the flow of stuff being different because they're just straight up encouraging you, like, no, you got to explore. You actually have objectives this time rather than getting to the next town and battling someone new. The battles have been very sparse, and something the new thing they're introducing for this game is the ability to crown one of your Pokemon as the king of strong style. So when a Pokemon masters a move, you have the ability to choose between agile style and strong style. Agile style will have less power,
first, I guess.
Less power, and give you the ability to potentially make 2 moves. Versus strong style, you hit harder, but you take an additional turn to recharge up.
Also, you can do sneak attacks on Pokemon. You can catch them unawares, and then they like it's kind of like they flinch and they can't do another attack, and you can attack them twice and totally wreck them. There's different rewards for catching Pokemon, defeating Pokemon, seeing certain moves happen. Like, it's way more interesting to me than just like wandering around and fighting a ton of random trainers that you cannot escape from, and they're all in your way, and it's really annoying. can craft your own potions and Pokeballs in the
there's
field, so you don't have to
crafting.
constantly be running back to the fucking Pokemon Center. Like, this is nice to me.
This sounds cool as hell.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, unfortunately, like a lot of it still looks like mud. Like
It
a
looks
lot
a
of
little not good. Yeah.
a lot
I've
of the
seen
textures.
some really fucking rotten looking screenshots of this thing. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, did they update the N64s to support more stuff on Switch? Oh, wait, no.
Oh.
Yeah, like I agree that like the graphics, it's like, come on, this is like the richest company in the fucking world practically besides Disney. Like, can we put a couple more $1 million into making this look better? Because it's like, you can say like, oh, the Switch is not very powerful, it's not a graphical powerhouse like other consoles, but like Breath of the Wild looks pretty fucking gorge. It's like, can't we make this look also as good as a game that came out 5 years ago, whatever it is?
Which is interesting because the actual
I don't
Pokemon
know.
models and like the individual NPCs and player models, they look really good this year compared
Like
to
the draw distance is pretty bad.
Yeah.
The pop-in's pretty bad. And like, say what you will about the, aesthetic of it. I don't really mind the muddy colors and stuff like that, because I think they're purposefully going for like an old scroll sort of woodblock print sort of color palette situation, not like a fresh woodblock print or something like that, like a sun damaged sort of situation. That's fine for me. I don't really care. I think that's a purposeful choice, but I still think like they could have done something, given it a little more graphical oomph to make it look
But,
less like
all
this
that
is,
being
like,
said, like it
old.
gameplay wise is doing enough different to keep me in the loop. Like I bounced off of Diamond and Pearl like relatively like really, really fast in
I
comparison.
bounced off Sword and Shield, and everybody was like, "This is the best fucking shit ever." And
Yeah, I
was
thought it
like,
was really great.
"Man, it's long. I just don't care about this. I don't care about the gameplay loop of fighting gym leaders constantly and fighting 28 guys along the way to the gym, and it's just like, okay, I just want to see the little critters and catch them, and I like them. And
is it performance stuff? Does it perform well because it
performs
looks like
fine.
shit, or like is it like I'm trying to like figure out, did they
The only
make
thing,
some
like,
trade off because the Pokemon models are so detailed that the environment had to look like trash, or
the draw distance sucks, the pop-in sucks, and there's also like very low frame draw distance issues. Like it was pointed out in the quick look, like look at that Pidgeot or whatever in the distance. It has 2 frames of animation, wing up, wing down while it's flying. And like even like human NPCs will have like 4 frames of animation, and it's like they're only like about 60 feet away or something like that. It's like, I feel like they should have more frames than this.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what's up with that.
Is there sorry I haven't chimed in. I'm just taking it all in and trying to really wrap my head around this game. I would like to know one thing and one thing only.
Yeah.
Herdier.
I have not seen the good boy just yet.
He's gonna be there though.
Yeah?
I think.
It's not always guaranteed that a Pokemon will wind up being in a game.
This
I know,
good
but
boy
he's
a
popular.
chance. Give him a chance. Right?
I'm ready to give him a chance. He's one of the goodest boys.
if you're building out the first Pokedex, well, I guess it depends on where you are. Yeah, you said it was in the Sinnoh region or whatever, so it's just kind of it's like that gen only, or is it kind of
so it mixes and matches it. So in Gen 4 your starters were Apom, Turtwig, and the little penguin Piplup. Here they're mixing it up where
I think Ipom is a different guy. You're thinking
Apom, not
Monferno or whatever
Monferno's little guy is.
Little baby guy.
Little baby fire monkey. But here they're mixing up the starters. You have a starter from Gen 6, Gen 5, and then Gen 2, which is interesting. And because this is set in the past, technically, some existing Pokemon have different forms than they do in modern Pokemon. Like Scyther has an alternate evolution, I believe, called Cleavor, which is great. And it's just a giant bug with cleavers for hands.
Sure.
He does
why
look
not?
more ancient though.
dear.
Like he looks more like dinosaur-y in a
Ancient
way.
cleavers,
The
Cybertronian forms.
The weird part that I'm not 100% sold on just yet are the kind of boss battle instances here, where there is like a named legendary, not legendary, but like pseudo legendary Pokemon, and they're like freaking out for some reason. They're just angry, and to calm them down, you have to enter in an instance where you were just throwing food at them, and then like they'll eventually calm down, and then you send out a Pokemon to battle for a little bit, and then the whole cycle will repeat. And it's just so interesting because here's this giant Pokemon that's glowing yellow, and it's showing an attack indicator so I know when to dodge out of the way. And then meanwhile, while I'm running around,
we're gonna send a single child to face this, and not the whole village of adults.
Sacks of food at him, and then I'll throw in my little owl boy, and then he'll get killed. But it's cool. I'll revive him, and then we'll just throw more sacks of food. It's fun.
It's like an interesting.
It's great. I think this is the best Pokemon game in several years.
Wow.
I'm pretty into it so far, honestly. I'll see how long my interest lasts. Like, something that's worth mentioning is the kind of like iffy aspect going on in the background here, which is like, this is kind of based off of like ancient Japan's history, including like when they were first like forcefully opened up to the West by, you know, Matthew Perry, not the guy from Friends, the first one, with the boat. But they also like moved north and colonized Hokkaido, which was full of the Ainu people at the time, which is a real tribe of people, and apparently like, you know, and they're still like, you know, exploited to this day and stuff like that, which obviously fucking sucks. And it is weird that they're kind of basing this game off of that situation, because like that's not a good look. And also these are real tribes that they are kind of taking and fictionalizing and putting it into the game, because later on you've run into like the Diamond Tribe or whatever. What's the name of these, like
the Diamond Clan and the Pearl Clan.
Clans. Yeah, there's different clans, and like they're based off of this real ethnic group of people. Apparently, I've read and I've been told. I haven't gotten that deep into it yet, and I'm also not an expert on Japanese history. But it's like, yikes, just a little yikes, man. Did we have to do that? That kind of sucks.
Yeah, is that something that is that something that the region, when they used it the first time around, had anything like that at all, or is it kind
Not
of
that
unique
I
to
know
this?
of.
No, not that I can think of.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I've definitely heard that there was like a little bit of colonialism in your Pokemon this time around.
Yeah.
Like, sure,
It's
okay.
a real hot theme.
What?
Real hot
Yeah.
theme, you know? Disney's
People are-
doing it. Let's do it here.
Exactly.
You know, it's
the
like-
Frozen 2 of Pokemon games.
You know, it's really, you know, I mean, it's interesting stuff. It's yikesy stuff, obviously, but it's like it's hard to get away from, because we keep writing stories about like being intrepid explorers, you know, like even like Indiana Jones, like everybody fucking loves Indiana Jones, but it's like that guy was stealing shit and putting it in museums, like that was the noble thing to do. It's like, no, that's their shit. Leave it there. Like, what the fuck, dude?
Maybe we borrow it.
We're just
keeping it safe over here. It belongs in a museum, as they say.
Yeah,
It'll
you
be
know.
much safer here.
You don't need this. We'll take this out
I'm
of
gonna
your
take
hands.
this and just put it over here.
Oh man.
So yeah, it just it's a weird, interesting situation, and it's like, oh man, why does this game have to have this in it? It's like, so I'm really digging it, and it's like, oh, there's this little shadow over it where it's like, oh man, there's like this historical precedent. That stinks.
Speaking about shadows, though, there's a
Shadow
weird...
the Hedgehog in this game?
No,
Please say yes.
no.
Please say yes. Please.
Oh.
Fuck,
I'm
I'm
sorry,
Pokemon.
Jess. I'm sorry, Jess. I'm sorry. Jess. There's a weird purple tint to everything, like all the shadows in the game, and I don't know if it's that's intentional or not, or
Purple-
an aesthetic
purple-
choice.
If this is like
Yeah.
Diamond and Pearl, you said there's Diamond and Pearl. I mean, this is just continuing the Prince references, right? I mean, this is just Princifying the game a little bit further. So
Hey, there's
Ah.
Purple
Yeah,
Fog. We're
absolutely.
one step away from Purple Rain, baby. Almost there.
Exactly.
That's true. Where do you think purple fog comes from?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. It's a byproduct of Purple Rain.
And
from
as
vaping, usually, I think is where that comes from.
and a benefit to the Switch, purple
Ashley,
also
Gengar.
easier to render.
But
And
for
black.
anyone
It's
that's like
an easy way to render shadows in a visually interesting way. Anyway,
for anyone that's like bounced off the series before, I think this is a cool point to perhaps jump back in, where there's enough familiar Pokemon and then enough Pokemon that are like, hey, wait a minute, I think that's different. And like the overall flow of it is pretty cool, where like Jess, if you were turned off by the constant battling and having to level up your little dudes and you just want to catch all these little friends, then that is what this game is. Also, last two last things I'll say. There are alpha Pokemon out in the world, which are just angry ass giant Pokemon,
Yeah, bro.
Yo,
You get some Sigma Pokemon.
there's like in like the first, and they're almost like the Lionels in Breath of the Wild, where like if you get way too close to these Pokemon, not only are they big and stronger than normal versions of them, they will mess up your shit real
hate
bad. Yo,
I like the idea of Pokemon on human violence. It is one of the last bastions that we've been afraid to cover for so long, and I'm glad that we're finally here. This is very exciting to me.
And the last thing, when you're in the hub little town you're in, you can't have your Pokemon follow you around. At least I don't know if that's ability that unlocks later. You can just
people are too afraid of them, right? You wouldn't fucking walk around with a Pokemon in town. They'd be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" They'd be like, if I was like just hanging out downtown with a bobcat, people are like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
There is one quest where some dude is freaked out, where like there is a Mr. Mime terrorizing the town. You need to take care of him.
I'm not sure if this is a Pokemon or some sort of weird pervert, but we gotta take care of him.
Take care of him, like
yeah.
like,
they get him to guard the town.
He's the only one I'd like to see possibly beaten, not killed, but beaten.
You can throw out all your Pokemon, and they'll kind of just hang out for a little bit around you. But if you throw out a Pokemon that has fainted and run out of its HP, it'll just be like slumped on the floor. And that's
how you doing in there, buddy? Oh shit!
Oh fuck!
Oh no!
Let me scoop you back into this ball.
I knew I forgot something.
Pour you back into the ball.
Like even if they fainted, they still know to shrink themselves to get back in the ball. At least.
Thanks, bud. Thanks.
Yeah.
I didn't want to carry you, but all right, cool.
Yeah. That sounds neat.
Yeah.
I have a question. I've seen a lot of gameplay. My son's having a bit of a Pokemon moment. I want to know but no, I know it's appropriate, but like, do you think he can handle it? It seems like there's a lot.
There may be a little too much going on.
There's a decent amount of mechanics that are definitely
That's
above and beyond what like the original like.
If I had a foot pedal,
turn-based
I think
RPGs,
it'd be easier for me.
Okay. Do they make that for Switch?
Maybe.
I mean, it's just USB. You know, you plug it in, see what happens.
Pop that right in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends how great his hand-eye coordination is, I guess. But
he surprises me a lot. Left him alone with Minecraft for like 2 days, and now he like gets it. So I don't know.
How is he with like dual analog sticks, like controlling a camera and stuff?
He switched from doing like grabbing like a joystick, with just his like index and thumb, like he would just do this sort of thing, and now he's just solo thumb.
Okay,
so that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
How is he with reading? There is, it is an RPG.
Read.
You gotta read a decent amount.
Mostly okay.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. All right. Okay. Maybe we'll just like let him go with it.
See what goes on.
There's a fair bit of aiming in the game.
I'm actually now more curious, just from an educational experimentation point of view, than anything else.
Yeah.
Okay.
If he needs a professor to help teach him, I'm on the line. I'm ready.
Yeah. No, I know.
I'm not named after a tree, but I'm good to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to
It'll work. It'll work. I'm playing stuff we can't talk about yet, but we'll talk about in the relatively near future. Jess, you have been sticking with Cruelty Squad.
Yeah.
How is it? Is it scrambling your brains? Are you like at that point where like, no man, this all makes sense now. You don't understand.
I like it. I like it a lot. I hit an ending. Seems like a bad ending, but obviously, like you go back to the level select screen, and there's like a ton of levels that are not activated yet. And it's like, well, clearly there's secrets afoot. So I'm gonna kind of go back to previous levels with like my bio power-ups that I got from later things. I got a double jump, I got a grappling hook now. And it's like, oh, like this first level has like a lot of secret little areas in it and like weird guns. I just found a DNA gun, which is a pistol that just says DNA on the side. You shoot it at a guy and they immediately turn into a tumorous mass that's gigantic and they can't move and they're dead. And it's like, that's dope. That's dope. I can't, it was here the whole time and I just couldn't find it, It's very interesting, and I have a lot of art thoughts about it, but I don't want to bore the hell out of people.
Every
But,
time y'all
if you
talk
wanna-
about Cruelty Squad again, and every time I'll catch like a random video or stream of someone, it's always something different going on.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
I don't understand what this game is, even after talking about it for so long.
I love that I don't understand it. That's art, baby.
Yeah,
You know, it
that's-
doesn't want to be understood sometimes.
Is the developer
Uh,
are they adding more new things, or is it just like it's been out?
There was a
don't
patch
know.
recently that I think like was largely fixing some stuff, but there was, one of the things on the patch notes was just like, oh, and there's some other thing in there, like, so there's little bits and pieces that enter that game with some of the patches, but generally I think it's largely done. Fine.
I was told that the developer is an actual like artist, like an avant-garde, sculpture, like a person that's in museums or some shit, like,
Oh.
so it's like, like an actual capital A artist made a fucked up weird art game. And hell yeah, that's cool as hell. I'm into it. It plays like a video game. Really hard at the start, but then you start unlocking things and things make more sense later. There's a casino with a 1 in 20,000 chance of winning a really rare gun. Like, it's just stupid. I just love it.
Yeah, it's
Ugh. And it's ugly.
a beautiful
Purpose.
mess. And people should check it out. If you didn't hear us talk about it during Game of the Year, just go listen to that. But
Didn't
also,
expect it to have like more than one ending or like, a post-game.
it's got hidden levels. It's got all kinds of.
Hidden thing,
There's
yeah.
a bunch of weird shit, and I mean, unsurprisingly, there's a bunch of weird shit in Cruelty Squad.
Mhm.
For
It's a game where,
sure.
like, when you first play it, you're just like, what's this dumb joke? And then, like, the more you play it, you're like, wait, this is intricate. There's systems going on here. There's more stuff than there should be here if this was a joke. So
To me, the best joke in that game, or the thing that I look at is like, oh, this is a hilarious joke, is just the way you reload the guns. By just having to
I
hold
love
the
it.
mouse button down and drag it down, and like this very involved, dumb motion you have to make to reload the guns. That to me
Similar
is the
to how you reload a gun in an arcade shooter when you shoot off the screen to
Yeah.
reload.
yeah.
And it's like, this is the stupidest way to do this.
It's
and I
like this
just
is a
love
mechanic
it.
that has been so codified across shooting video games for decades, and you're just like, nope, that's not how we're gonna do it. Check this shit out. And you're like, ah,
Crazy
is-
is I got used to it like immediately.
no,
like
yeah, it's so
what?
stupid. You're like, no, yeah,
Oh
it
my
becomes
God.
second nature in a way that it shouldn't. But there you go.
It's a weird little freak of a game, and I can't
Yeah.
help but respect it.
Yeah. All right.
Still
Why don't we
playing
take
it, still streaming it. So yeah.
Fantastic. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll get into the news. There's a lot of stuff. Oh yeah, a lot of
Oh,
stuff
boy.
happened.
Oh, boy.
Everyone bought everyone.
Yep.
We'll talk about it after the break. We are back, and now let's get into the news.
I've got a news thing that's breaking that
Yeah.
I wish to bring up. That I'm sorry, during the break I heard the wildest fucking story,
Okay.
and I need to just regurgitate it right
All
here
right.
and now. My wife got back from Trader Joe's just now, and she's like, it was empty. I couldn't believe it. It was like there was not a lot of stuff there. So I'm like, what was going on? Is this socialism? And she said no.
For
She
the-
said no. What?
Real quick for the folks watching at home, or live, the audio did not kick in, but it's in now. It'll be fine in post. Breaking news
Cool.
from Jeff Bakalar. Trader Joe's wife just came back.
Yeah, okay. So she came back from Trader Joe's. It's all empty. So she's like, so I asked somebody, and she said, why is there nothing in the store here? Where are all the groceries? Where are all the products? And someone told her that it had to do with a truck crash in Pennsylvania that was carrying 100 monkeys. And somehow the monkeys got out. They're all accounted for now.
Yeah,
All the
I heard
monkeys-
about the monkey crash. We heard about the ape escape.
Apparently that was the reason given
This
to my
NFT
wife
news, this ape escape.
for why Trader Joe's was a little more understocked.
This is why
than
we don't
normal.
have our monkey meat ready to go at Trader
Yeah.
Joe's. Our ground monkey meat. We're out.
Mhm.
I don't know why they are related. I think my wife heard this story and then proceeded to just stare blankly at the person who told her this and was like, what?
See, I thought the reasonable explanation was that there's a huge snowstorm coming and everybody panic buys all of the food.
Well,
And I
that would have
think
made
we're
sense for
shifting
last
the
week.
blame. We're shifting the blame to monkeys, I
The
think.
snow's gone. It's
Well, like the
snowed
deliveries
already.
are probably lag behind, right? And things are
Sure.
stretched thin. So like
Sure.
my
Yeah.
wife likes, there's some kind of Brussels sprout related product at a Trader Joe's that she
Oof,
likes. It's
love that
specifically, it's seasoned in some very specific way.
Mm.
And they were out of them for about 2 months
Wow.
and just got them back in like a week ago. She was calling around to multiple places and they were all out. And the answer was just like, yeah, they're on a boat.
Hmm?
Yeah, well,
You know,
that
like
makes
they just-
sense.
yeah.
I
yeah.
couldn't get Arizona fruit punch. Yeah,
Couldn't.
couldn't get it for the whole pandemic though. The whole like a year and a half since I've seen a can of Arizona fruit punch out here. Used to have it.
Yeah.
I didn't know they do that. They Trader Joe's used to have an apple stick. They came in a green bag and they were like veggie sticks, right?
Uh-huh.
But
Oh, yeah.
imagine instead
Oh,
of
right.
the
Yeah,
veggie
yeah.
sticks, they were like
Oh.
apple straws.
I'm an
Yeah.
They were
idiot.
okay.
amazing and like super like not real terrible for you, and they're gone. They just stopped making them. They're fucking gone. If someone's out there sitting on a whole trundle full of Trader Joe apple straws, slide into my DMs, hook it up. I'll pay top dollar for your apple straws.
When you said apple sticks, I thought it was just like Trader Joe's was just selling branches of wood with like an apple at the end.
and
I was
then
like,
you
all
plant
right.
it. It was
I
grafted
thought-
from the origin tree, and then you plant it in your backyard.
I thought you forgot the word for caramel apple.
Yeah.
Nope.
That's what I thought as well. I was like, okay,
no,
yeah,
no,
like
no,
a,
no, no.
Apple on a stick.
no,
They're
yeah,
so
we
good.
my wife places pickup orders, or like curbside orders from like Target and some other, and the Target here is like a grocery store type thing. Well, I guess they all are, but anyway, they didn't have any cabbage.
Yeah,
Ah,
you
There
know.
was like cabbage, no, man, we got none. Today they were like milk, nope.
Weird supply stuff.
Yeah.
Still happening.
Yeah,
Anyway,
definitely still happening. Breaking news. Sony's gonna buy Bungie.
There's that too.
What?
Yeah. Speaking of supply chain issues, it's no. $3.6 billion. This was announced yesterday.
Which feels like we're just kind of making up numbers now.
Right.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, obviously that's much lower than the Bethesda or Activision prices, but Bungie is a much different type of buy
Sure,
than
sure.
those.
I
So
say-
yeah,
when
I
say
feel
that,
like
also mean,
completely
like,
unable to judge if that
Yeah.
number is appropriate or not, because it wasn't like Bungie was some public company that you can go like, oh, well, it's this much
Kick
over
the
their
books,
market
yeah.
cap, blah blah blah. So
Mm.
Right, because
I say that because-
bought Zynga for $12.7 billion
Yeah.
recently.
Right. yeah,
It just feels like we're kind of just throwing stuff out there. We're just like,
Yes. Imaginary
you're like-
numbers. at
you're
this
like
point.
4 billion, right? And Bungie's like, yeah. Well,
sure. We would
Or
love
not-
to.
or not? Or
We
not?
would love to not do this anymore. I would love to retire. I would love to go start another studio in a few years with the money that you're going to give me.
Yeah.
Sure, let's do
is
this.
what this is. This is what you were financing.
You're financing me
So-
leaving in 3 years.
So the chronological like events, the order of events here was Bungie was originally a Microsoft
So
situation.
no,
then
Bungie
it-
was originally independent, and
Originally
they
independent.
yes, and they were working
out by
on a game
Microsoft.
called Halo for the Mac, and it was a kind of top-down-ish sort of
Third person.
RTS
Yeah.
game similar to the Myth games that they were responsible for. They also made the Marathon games for the Mac. They made games on the Mac. What a lucrative business. And then Microsoft bought them and said, you should make Halo for this Xbox thing we're doing. And so they did.
That worked out.
And then there was eventually unrest there. This is, for as crazy as things are now, I still think one of the craziest things that I remember ever happening was Bungie going independent and leaving Microsoft to
Yeah.
become an independent studio again. It was one of those things where the rumors kicked around for a little bit, and I remember we were reporting on it on the podcast we had at the time. And Tor Thorson, our news editor, rest in peace, was in full on, like, I will eat my fucking hat mode if that happens. Like, there's just no way Microsoft would let them go. And I remember the rumors just seemed specific enough that I was a little more like, I don't know, dude, that sounds insane, but there's something about this that isn't going away. And then like next week it happened. And it was just fucking crazy. It was like, wait, you're taking, okay, Microsoft, the company that has built its entire console platform on Halo, is saying, hey, developers of Halo, get the fuck out. Yeah, go. You're unhappy, go. It was just insane. You just couldn't, like, I don't know, how is this happening? Why would you do this? And it was because they were forming 343, and a bunch of people that worked on Halo that wanted to continue working on Halo went to 343, and they became the new Halo studio. And then Bungie spun out to go eventually make Destiny. But it was just insane.
Now they're bought out by Sony.
Yes, yes. So they went independent.
Hot potato.
They went independent. They did a publishing deal with Activision for Destiny.
Oh.
And then details of that leaked out because of the Call of Duty creators, Vince Zampella and Jason. I can always forget Jason's last name. The two of them, the Infinity Ward founders that left Infinity Ward, and there was a big lawsuit around all that other stuff. A bunch of documents got out as a result of those proceedings that included a lot of the Destiny payouts and timelines and all this other stuff that made it look like if Bungie didn't hit specific milestones with Destiny development, that Activision would start to own more and more of Bungie. And that ended up not happening. And then they ended up parting ways from Activision to go fully solo, and then they became the publishers of record for Destiny 2, and it went free to play and all this other stuff. And now Sony is purchasing the creators of the creators of Halo. I guess you could still technically say that.
Sure. That will always be a thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe not the human beings, but certainly the name that was on the door, and all that sort of stuff.
Definitely.
And yes, so let's see here. Bungie is to operate independently as a Sony Interactive Entertainment subsidiary. That means they'll be able to self-publish if necessary, and that the games are to remain multi-platform. They're also not necessarily ruling out the idea that future games would be multi-platform. But we'll kind of see what happens there. Remember that Bungie took $100 million from NetEase for a new IP back in 2018.
Yeah, they've got some projects on the books.
Yeah, so that deal's already signed. Like they're already working on something that will almost definitely be on mobile as well as probably PC and console platforms, I would assume. And those deals are already signed, so they already have some project on the books that will almost certainly be multi-platform. So yeah, they're kind of, it's weird. This one strikes me as like just an interesting fit when you look at Sony's library, and I'm sure the money is very cool if you're on the Bungie side and in the tier of employees that'll get a piece of that payout. But yeah, Sony's talk about it remaining multi-platform and some of this other stuff and self-publishing reminds me a lot of, like, I don't know, there was like Sony Image Soft, and there was Sony Music Entertainment, and there have been traditionally other parts of Sony that have published video games that are not necessarily part of the PlayStation brand. And this strikes me a little bit like that, though they are saying like, hey, we're joining PlayStation, like we're one of the PlayStation studios. So they're not keeping it fully disintegrated. They are looking to put all those things together. And I think what Sony probably gets out of this, right, is like, think about the types of games that Sony makes.
Your God of Wars, Horizons, Ratchet and Clanks.
Yeah,
right?
your big marquee single player story driven game. It's been their bread and butter for ages. It's been their approach, whereas Microsoft has tried to build on Xbox Live and try to, have Halo and Gears of War and really go after the kind of competitive shooter market. Sony's been very focused on those, single player story driven experiences, to the point where like they don't really have Like, what's a big online game franchise that Sony has and nourishes and publishes and all that other stuff? Like, they did Destruction All Stars last
I guess
year.
The Last
Yeah,
of Us
the short list.
multiplayer.
Sure, like
but
Uncharted had multiplayer.
Yeah, nothing
That's
else has
not-
popped
That
up.
wasn't exactly your question.
So
Yeah, right, but-
3?
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
Yeah, so sure, SOCOM. Yeah, I mean, I guess if you take it back, Killzone was, you know, probably the last big first party big multiplayer game that Sony they published Mag. There you go.
Okay.
You know, so
Oh, it's what the fuck is it? It's the Mahardy game.
Warframe?
Yeah.
no,
that
they don't
just
they
them?
don't no, that's not
Weren't-
them.
no, they
That's-
weren't doing
that's-
that for a
No,
while?
Digital Extremes is all on their own, doing their own
Got
thing.
it. The Mahardy game.
The Mahardy game.
It's either that or fighting animals.
Yeah. And so this brings a studio that has been making a games as a service, free to play. Like Bungie is doing a lot of things that Sony simply does not do. So not only do you get those individual games under your umbrella, you're also tapping into a team that has been like doing this and not always doing amazing. Like, you know, there's been struggles, right? I mean, Destiny 2 has been a weird up and down journey. But you're getting a lot of people that have been through the ringer on that stuff and come out the other side. And now they're out there touting a million pre-orders for their next expansion that's coming up later this month. And you're getting access to people that have been making those kinds of games. And so that's like a knowledge pool you can tap into if you want to have another studio make a game like that. Like, hey, you did this. How fucked up was it? And they'll go, yo, it was fucked up. Which sometimes you need someone like that.
I guess I just can't see in my head how that translates, that now they have a studio that specializes in that, having that translate to something like a God of War, where it's like, all right, just drop a bunch of Kratoses in, maybe.
Kratos crates. It's easy. You just,
Oh, no.
Oh, exclusive
no.
Kratos crates.
yeah.
I think the way you've articulated it makes sense in terms of like the void Bungie sort of helps fill at Sony. I think at the same time, this does not exude like the exclusivity characteristics and pizzazz that I feel like some of these other acquisitions have packed in as kind of like the selling point, right? So
Yes.
I'm curious to see how this really settles out when it's all said and done, and what the tangible kind of like shift it provides.
Yeah. Yes, there's a handful of interviews out there. Jim Ryan of Sony Interactive Entertainment spoke with gamesindustry.biz. And there's some quotes there saying like, Bungie will continue to operate autonomously within the Sony Interactive Entertainment organization, and they will continue to publish on other platforms. We get the importance of this. We have grown studios organically, but we've also made a number of acquisitions over the years, whether it's Naughty Dog, Guerrilla, Sucker Punch, and most recently Insomniac. We understand how important it is to give these great organizations the space and independence whilst bolstering that with great support when and where that's needed. And so that's philosophically, this isn't about pulling things into the PlayStation world. This is about building huge and wonderful new worlds together, which is like it is a pretty stark contrast, I think,
The current
to maybe
ethos going on.
yeah, to I think even when you think about PlayStation and how they have behaved with regard to their platform versus other platforms on crossplay and just some of the ways that PlayStation has operated in terms of bringing their games to PC and when they do that and all that other stuff. It's an interesting different fit.
It is a bending of their definition, right? Like,
Yeah.
and in a lot of ways kind of antithetical to what their DNA was sort of solidified as,
Were they not
5,
doing it because they
6,
just
7
didn't know
years ago.
how? So they got some folks that knew how for sure to do it.
I mean,
Well, I think that, if you're Sony, I think you're probably realizing that like a handful of things. One, that you probably need to get into these different lines of work and make sure that you're, just out there doing things differently. And you're probably realizing that, hey, the whole direction of the world is pushing into crossplay and services, more importantly. Like services is the thing we're really talking about here. And that Microsoft's whole pitch is that we're a services company, to the point where, you know, you could almost envision a future where they don't make an Xbox console someday, you know, because they're so in on services that they're just like, whatever, we don't give a shit where you play, just pay us to do it. And we'll do it well. And, you know, Sony is just not organized, and they don't necessarily have the money to compete in that space directly. But they do need to do more than they probably have been doing. And so you look at that, you look at how easy it is to spend money these days on these acquisitions and just interest rates and all that other stuff that just make this a favorable time for acquisition. And that probably turns the key. Jeff Grubb of the internet fame was out there saying that he had heard that perhaps Microsoft was also engaged in conversations with Bungie.
I bet.
Which, if you're Bungie, like, of course, like, even if they weren't, they were, right? Because if you're Bungie and you're talking to Sony and it's getting serious, you're like, wait a minute, let's make sure we get the most money out of this. Let's go talk to Microsoft. Like,
of course,
you know, you kick the tires on as many different people that you can get to answer the phone as possible to try to see what valuation, what kind of price you can get, all that other stuff. So, you know, all that stuff makes sense. I think if Microsoft had done this purchase, you know, like the news was out today or yesterday that the FTC is going to be looking into the Activision acquisition, and all that other stuff, because, you know, the regulators always do look at this stuff, but
they always do. Okay.
It had been the Justice Department, and I believe the Justice Department and the FTC have kind of said over the last year, like, hey, there's a lot more acquisitions going on, and we want to eyeball that stuff way more closely than maybe we have been in the past few years.
But I feel like the reasons, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. But the indication seems to be like, for the most part, especially if you're talking about the Blizzard deal, it's kind of just going through the motions.
Yeah, I assume so.
Yeah, no one realistically thinks it's gonna.
Yeah,
stop.
I didn't know if that was like, ooh, a scandal.
No.
Oh, it's standard. Never mind.
It's different than what the process maybe has been for the past few years, but it seems like it is the new process that the government wants to put in place on this stuff. So it's not necessarily trouble for the deal that's happening. But if they had also bought Bungie
acquisitions,
if they had said, hey, we're also buying Bungie, another creator of another shooter and another this and that, like maybe that starts to look a little weird. So you know, Bungie in that portfolio seems a little strange. Maybe with the other stuff they own. So
yeah, maybe a little less attention is what you're.
Yeah, wait for the heat to die down on this other thing, and
then you can buy, you know, New Mexico or whatever's next for Microsoft. Also, you know, I've seen a lot of people starting to talk about the rumblings of like, we're not done yet.
Yep.
There's, you know,
no one is.
Mostly credible people saying, hey, the spending is probably going to continue. Grubb actually put up a story where he was just like, financially, it just makes sense, especially if you're sitting on a whole bunch of cash.
Yeah. Yeah, you can get a lot for that money right now.
Right.
And interest rates are still good. They're not going to change for a little bit here.
Yeah, people keep throwing around Capcom as one of those potential acquisitions, which is
that seems like Capcom seems like a company that if I think specifically the word that went around is if Monster Hunter World hadn't done as well as it had, that Capcom would have kind of sold, that they would have been in a different position to. They were like, no, we're going to cash out. But that game did well enough that they're like, no, we're gonna see how this goes. But again, with that much money in play and that much money being thrown around, if you were at one point thinking of selling, it's everyone's probably thinking about it one way or the other, whichever end they're on. They're like, hey, wait a minute, like we could probably get a lot of money for this right now, and that's going to change when market conditions change. And so if we're gonna get it, we're gonna get it now. And so I think you're going to see more and more of this. You're going to see more of this.
The other part of this acquisition talk that I've seen is Sony interested in making TV shows and movies with Destiny products.
Sure.
And based off of how complicated that lore sounds, okay.
Yeah, sure. You know, like that lore is wide and messy in a way that, you know, that Halo trailer hit a couple days ago, and you know, I've seen a lot of people shitting on different parts of it, from the fucking SUV that's in one of the shots for a second, to like the idea that it is non-canon to the games. Where they're like, hey, we want to fit it into canon where we can, but we didn't want to have to compromise our storytelling for the sake of the decades of this, or, you know, I don't know what the exact quote that they're giving is, but they're like, hey, it gives us more flexibility if we don't make this canon. And I think that's the coward's way out.
Yeah, that's weird. Why even make it?
Exactly. Because they think they can make money on it, and they don't think enough people will care about the canon of Halo.
Okay.
It's just brand recognition, you know.
Right,
Sure,
exactly.
sure.
You just put the people and put some people in the armor and do whatever. I don't know.
I mean, I guess I'm hesitant, but then I don't know. I see a show like Arcane working with like the League of Legends lore, and that's actually really good. So I don't know. Maybe you can turn it around.
I think you absolutely should. You know, I think that stuff should be canon.
Yeah.
You should, you know, make your storytelling work within the context of the larger universe. Everyone benefits when you do that.
It's not even Master Chief.
But anyway, yeah, all right. But
It's just like Tom, some guy named Tom.
Hey, I'm Tom.
I'm
Putting my helmet on. Wake me if you need me. But the Destiny lore is so fucking insane.
Yeah, like I don't even know what it is.
You could make it canon and no one would know. You're like, yeah, sure. I don't know. This fits into something.
Yeah,
the Traveler is like.
I had asked our
Space
chat,
horse.
is it easy to get into Destiny 2 right now? And then someone, I don't know if it was a real response, but they were saying you'd be dropped into a game show like thing with a squid host.
You would.
Okay. All right.
And a space horse.
I'm on board.
It's awesome, but it's they are saying that, you know, because the Witch Queen is coming up here later this month, and they're talking. They're kind of trying to talk a big game about like, hey, we're trying to knock the grind down a little bit in this game because it's gotten to be too much, and it is too much. And so maybe when that expansion comes out, that might be a time to check it out.
Okay.
But that's coming. Oh, I only say that because it's coming so soon. But the lore, I don't know what's happening in Destiny 2. I have not in years. And every time they drop something new, I at least load it up and see what it's going to show me. And it's just more confusing. So I don't know I don't remember who's who anymore. And you launch that thing. And yeah, literally when you're like, okay, now you're in a game show hosted by the guy who sells you rare weapons on the weekends and a fucking literal goddamn horse. It's incredible. It's awesome. It's a weird, good, crazy direction. But at the same time, I'm just like, I don't even know what the fuck we're doing anymore.
There's something so magical about a space horse.
There really is. Yeah.
Is that like actually? Is it funny or is it like lol wacky random? Monkey
No, it doesn't
cheese
feel.
funny?
It doesn't feel wacky random.
Is it supposed to be funny? I don't know.
It is humorous because it is, you know, it is kind of meant to be a program that other people are watching, right? And so in the context of that, you're like, oh, okay, I guess this makes sense. But then you're also picking up bounties from a fucking horse. And
Hell yeah, okay.
All right.
Yeah. I think in the context of that fucking mess, it works well enough. It works as well as anything else does. Fuck, I don't know.
Fair
What the
enough.
fuck's going on in that game?
Cool.
Marco, someone in the chat was saying, you know, hey, what does this mean for what do you think Bungie does next? And I've seen a lot of people go like, oh, this means they're going to bring back Killzone, or they're going to bring back Resistance, or they're going to have Bungie do another shooter, another Killzone. Like, super not. No, like,
Yeah, but that doesn't make sense.
no, they're picking up Bungie because they make service games, because they make free to play games, because they want that expertise. Bungie is going to do Destiny stuff, and they're going to work on this other IP that they're doing for NetEase. I don't know if they have another project in the works or not at this point. Or, you know, and if they do, maybe that's just like the true next gen Destiny follow up, because Destiny 2 is getting kind of long in the tooth tech wise, and you know they've had to throw parts of the game out for a while and put them in the vault just to reduce the install size. And there's just like, you know, they're living and dying by decisions that got made. I don't know how many, is it 10 years? How long, when did Destiny 2 come out? A decade ago?
I don't know anymore.
Oh boy, I think so.
It's always been here.
No.
Okay,
I'll believe whatever you
2017.
say.
Wait,
Yeah.
no, 2017?
No way. How is that possible?
That can't be right.
But that's also almost 5 years ago.
Okay, that is almost 5 years ago. Okay, but anyway, Destiny has been around for a lot longer than that. But Destiny 2, I guess, only 5 years old. But it is, you know, it is starting to show the weight of the decisions, or the way that game is architected and stuff. That, you know, if they started over from scratch, could it be better? I bet it could be. So, You know, maybe they're due for a greater overhaul, but also now that it's a free to play game and you want to keep all those players connected to that same experience, do you actually make a Destiny 3, or do you just overhaul in place the game that you have and just at some point just start calling it Destiny?
Yeah, that seemed, well, I don't know. Now that we talked about like Sony's take on the creating worlds and their
Right.
you know, aversion to something like that, I don't know, but you know, it seems like, I think the move is that where they use this opportunity to go in that direction where like, okay, this is our living, breathing thing. Cause then why? Cause then if you're making this pivot, then why not go all in instead of, you know, instead of being iterative about it?
Right. Yeah. I mean, and I think one of the things on the Bungie side of things, they're saying like, hey, this gives us the resources and the breathing room to really fucking shine, to really go for it. And Destiny 2, it's been doing, you know, I don't know if it's successful by their metrics or whatever. They were out there touting 1 million pre-orders for the next expansion, which ain't nothing. But like, to actually go and build a new one all over again is a huge expenditure.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure that this affords them the ability to not only keep going with Destiny, but also figure out like, what's the next big world? Is it this thing they're building for NetEase? Is there something else that they're doing? You know, does this give them the green light to just go and make something even crazier? Because remember when Destiny got announced, like they talked about it like this is the next 10 years. Yeah. And everyone's like, fuck you. What are you talking about? 10 years. That's 2 console platforms, but not anymore. Now it's 1 1/3 console platforms or something.
And the, you know, to your point of like people saying like, oh, they're probably going to work on, you know, other games outside of what is now their wheelhouse. Like, no, Sony has the development pedigree and arsenal for that stuff,
and they will keep buying them.
Yeah,
like they're out there talking like that they want to acquire more studios and do more stuff and all that. And yes, they have studios out there working on games already. They have like 17 different studios or whatever it is out there working on games. Like you don't just buy Destiny and then saddle them with like the Killzone IP. And I like Killzone, don't get me wrong, but like, you know, go like, all right, now we're finally we get a new Killzone.
Bring out the Hellcast.
Yeah, goddamn Guerrilla working on these Horizon games and shit. Who cares about that? Get the fucking Killzone crank. Turn it.
People forget like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, maybe even longer if I forget what time is. We don't know how old Destiny is.
Yeah.
The conversation was like, Microsoft's got to start buying shit. Sony owns everything. Sony has all these developers. What the hell? You know, that was the narrative like 6-7 years ago. What are you doing, Phil? That was the thing, right? Like, and then, you know,
and then they were quietly scheming and just like one step at a time getting the platform back on track. And once they had a set of hardware that they were happy with, that they're like, okay, now Game Pass, now acquire, now do like, this is the Microsoft strategy is really crazy when you think about the long view. It's something.
It's the long play for sure.
Yeah. And I remember talking with them about a lot of backwards compatibility stuff years ago and talking to an engineer who was working on it. And it was this thing you could see it all forming together about like, oh, you're about to go all in on backwards compatibility in a way that you haven't yet. Because we were talking about just the emulation end of it and all this other stuff. It was super fascinating. And then they got that piece in place and they start, you know, just like watching them just line up those dominoes. And especially when you think about the Xbox One and how dismal that thing was and how dark a time that was, to the point where like, you know, there was that talk for a while about like, oh, well, maybe Microsoft sells the Xbox brand off and divests themselves of this. Cause you know, in a world where they're a services company, the last thing they want is an unprofitable video game arm. And then instead they sat down and said like, no, we can be a services thing too. And just fucking did it over the course of a lot of years. It's super impressive.
Takes time.
Yeah, for sure. And Sony's been in a very good spot where they haven't really had to respond to any of that because the traditional stuff that has always brought them to the dance is still working worldwide. And I think that's going to change. I think, you know, it seemed like the world is just heading in that direction in a way that Sony has to do more than they're doing. And I think that an acquisition like Bungie makes great sense in that context.
I know these are imaginary numbers at this point, but is 3.6 y'all think a lot or not enough to purchase a studio like Bungie, given like all the stuff that they're going to be bringing to Sony that they don't already have, like the services stuff.
It's tough. I think because you are comparing it to just what the market has allowed for in the last 2 years, and if you compare it to what it's allowed for in the last 2 weeks, you have an even stranger skew of like what it all means. So I don't know. My gut was like that felt high, but you know,
I don't know enough about Bungie's books to say one way or the other, but I'm with you that the number seemed like slightly high to me when I heard it, but that's the market right now. Like everyone, you know, and deals like this make the next deal go for even more. And like, you know, like as you set the stage for what these IPs go for and all this other stuff, like, you know, what does it mean when someone finally pulls the trigger and tries to buy Square, or, you know, something like that? Like,
oh God.
Yeah. Like what does it mean for if Konami really does want to sell its IPs and get out of that end of the business?
And that is like, these are all, it's funny because you know, as far-fetched as it does feel, all of these things do push the probability of like a Konami thing happening where they're just like, fine, you want, like, we'll sell all of our, like,
I don't know, man, they're so stubborn though.
The energy is out there, right? Like you know, all these things.
Hoarding. Big into hoarding their IPs.
Do you think like if a Japanese studio gets, like a prolific Japanese studio like a Capcom gets bought out, or Square, that's when they'll be like, all right, we'll do it too?
Maybe
they'd have to see some of their like local competition get bought out or something. I don't really know.
Yeah, I don't know. That's something
Konami
that
makes weird decisions all the time, and it's like trying to predict what a weird dog is gonna do.
And
like,
the reason that they do this with the video game end of things is because they don't have to care about it, because they're doing fine. Like,
they got pachinko machines, they got their health spas.
Yeah, so it's like they're not hurting for money in a way that makes them have to sell it. Yeah, it's almost better for them to hang on to it just in case they're like, oh, we need to get back into the video game business. Good thing we've got all of these things to pull from.
We have Metal Gear.
It's like a return.
Great fencer Musashi.
Yeah.
Where is that boy?
That was Square.
Oh, Square.
Yeah.
But what am I thinking of? Goemon. I'm thinking of Goemon.
Yeah, we're always thinking of Goemon around these parts. So yeah, I don't know.
Wild.
And yes, the quote from Jim Ryan is saying that they're not ruling out more acquisitions for one of these games industry biz interviews. We should absolutely expect more. We are by no means done with PlayStation. We have a long way to go. I will personally be spending a lot of my time with Pete and the team at Pete Parsons and the team at Bungie, helping make sure that everyone beds down right and that autonomy means autonomy. But elsewhere in the organization, we have many more moves to make.
Beds down?
The British, make sure it all lays where it needs to
get
lay.
Sexy.
Yeah, it gets hot. He's going to go to bed with Pete Parsons.
Count.
And there was another quote. I don't have it in front of me, but Axios' Steven Totillo tweeted a screenshot of it, of another quote from them, kind of implying that like Sony is looking to get into new stuff and like, hey, we've got things in the works that we ain't even talked about yet. New ways to play, being the implication there. That sounds like more than just VR. And that is a mystery to me. I mean, I can think of a lot of different ways of like, oh, okay, we're doing mobile integration, and so people are on phones while people are playing games. We're doing AR instead of VR. Like, it can mean a ton of different things. Like, we can sit here and speculate all day. But when I think about like what Sony is good at and what Sony seems to like to do about this stuff, like when they got into VR, it was very much a big R&D effort for them, and they said like, fuck it, we're going to do this. And the R&D on their controller and 3D audio and just some of the other stuff that they tried to make the standout features of the PlayStation 5. I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. Because it could be something as simple as like, oh, we're going to let people play on the PC. But it could be something as crazy as like, I don't know, fuck it, we made an AR headset instead of a VR headset. But I'm just making shit up now.
These aren't real words.
Fake money, fake words.
Yeah, fake money, fake words, real consequences. That's the world in which we live. Not the only acquisition announced yesterday. The New York Times has purchased Wordle for millions, low seven figures is what they said. Potentially millions of dollars.
Good for Mr. Wardle.
Yeah. Josh Wardle posted Twitter about it, and the New York Times did as well. This guy says, I'd be lying if I said this wasn't a little overwhelming. After all, I'm just one person, and it's important to me that as Wordle grows, it continues to provide a great experience to everyone. Given that, I'm incredibly pleased to announce that I've reached an agreement with the New York Times for them to take over running Wordle going forward.
I find that funny because it's like, as Wordle grows, it's like there's no place to grow from. It's perfectly simple. Like, the reason I think it was such a phenomenon is because it's so outrageously simple and it's free. And the New York Times is probably going to monetize this somehow and ruin the whole shtick. So,
well, I think
are
saying that it
suckers.
means people playing it. You probably
Playing
means
it.
Yeah,
growing.
server
It's
costs.
I don't think it's going to, I don't think it's going to gain more traction at this point because the New York Times is like going to paywall it or something. So
they did say that it would be free to play initially, was some of the reporting on there, but also Josh Wardle's thing says it's free to play for everyone, and that he's working on carrying wins and streaks over to when the game does eventually move to a New York Times hosted solution. Initially being the key word there, right, is like, oh, eventually maybe they do something to try to paywall it. I look at Wordle as something that is going to come and go. And I think some people have already kind of gotten, I think as people started to crack it apart and say, oh, the word list is all in it, and we can look at every solution in the code for the next month, or, whatever it is. For the entire history of the game, we know what each day's given word will be because of how it was coded. I think you fix that sort of stuff when you bring it over.
Said the same thing when this happened with Spelling Bee, and here we are, still playing that shit every day.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I am not getting the same thrills out of Wordle that I was even a week ago.
Well, now that I know that brain-breaking garbage, I kind of don't run to it anymore.
Yeah. So I look at this as like Josh Wardle getting his, and good for him.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Of course, totally.
That's fucking awesome.
Great for him.
Totally.
Yeah,
It's
he made
Especially
a
'cause,
very
like,
organic, cool thing, and
especially because there's been so many knockoffs
Yep.
of his work. May as well get paid big money for the one legit thing, since a ton of people are going to steal your work anyway.
yeah, and so maybe it ends up being a situation where the web version stays free, but they sell an app that I'm sure will do fucking gangbusters.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a lot of different ways to make money on Wordle without necessarily destroying the thing that has made it what it is now.
I think like there's a lot of people who pay for the Times game stuff. Like you said, it is going to be free to start. I don't know. It seems very murky about what like they would do, but I don't know. Maybe there is some cool future ahead for it that
6 letters, maybe
invents on top of it, and it gets funky. And hey, rock and roll. Yeah, the only thing I did think was kind of weird was like the wording of like low, like the wording is like low 7 digits.
Yeah.
And I just feel like, does that mean $1,001? Like, when you say low 7 digits, it's such a weird way to describe.
It's $1 million and a sandwich.
It's just like it's something in the low 7 figures.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe it was 2.
Yeah, I don't know. Like that. But my wife was like, "What does that mean?" I'm like, $2 million. I guess.
I would take $1 million in a sandwich for Wordle if I had made Wordle.
Or a stamp card somewhere, man.
You got no deal if this doesn't have a sandwich attached to it.
That's right.
Get that
yeah,
extra
I mean,
meat.
because I feel like this is this seems like the right time to cash out on Wordle.
Totally.
Because I feel like I said, it just feels like there is a certain amount of fatigue building up.
Yes.
In like my circle, that I feel like that stuff eventually just extends, and it ain't gonna last forever. Unless you do something else to it to bring it to more mainstream people, or whatever you do. So that to me seems like the perfect move, and congratulations to Josh Wardle for making it happen. That's
I mean, I'm already seeing it pop up on Facebook, which means it's naturally way less interesting and cool now because the normies are playing it.
Of course, yeah.
Popped on local news, so.
Yeah, so Wordle's done. Everyone knows it. HyperScape is shutting down. We talked about HyperScape a couple weeks ago. We're like, remember HyperScape?
Yeah.
Apparently, I don't know if we poked a fucking bear's nest and someone was like, oh shit, is that still running?
We reminded someone.
Bears live in nests?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, West Coast bears live in nests. It's a whole... You gotta be careful out here.
It's a whole thing.
West Coast bear nest?
Why do you think I'm the way I am?
Those overalls are functional. So, they posted a brief update to the HyperScape web presence, saying, we've made the difficult decision to end development of HyperScape and shut the game down as of April 28th. I feel like development shut down quite a long time ago. Some of the key folks behind it left Ubisoft months and months ago, and started a new studio. So I don't know who has been assigned to HyperScape duty all this time, but wasn't them. We set out to create a vertical, close quarters, and fast-paced shooter experience, and we're extremely grateful to our community for joining us on our journey. We will be taking key learnings from this game into future products. To the HyperScape community, thank you for your passion and dedication to the world of Neo Arcadia, both inside and outside of the game. Your devotion to the game we built will always be cherished. But not that much. Yeah, this game had been more or less dead for a very long time. Before bringing it up a couple of weeks ago, I think a few months back, I joined the official Discord for HyperScape out of some sick curiosity of like, who is still talking about HyperScape? What does a HyperScape community look like? And didn't find a lot of action there. I rejoined that Discord for an hour or so this morning, and actually way less than an hour. It still has like 19,000 people on it, but like not a lot of activity. Even in the wake of this announcement, it was like a couple of people going like, well, I guess we should organize some game nights to get folks together and play it while it still works. And a lot of people linking to the website of the developers that left to go start their own studio. And I saw a post there, and someone else going like, can we get him to not shut the game down? And then people were like, no one has been working on this game for 6 months or more. Like, don't be crazy.
At least they're realistic.
Yeah, so not a ton of uproar from what I presume would be the most dedicated HyperScape community around. I assume their Discord would be where you would find anyone still interested in HyperScape.
Yeah, that's where they
About
live,
a
right?
year ago, there's a Reddit thread that is just asking, is HyperScape dead?
Oh,
That was January 26th of last year.
doing the good detective work.
Yeah, it's not, I don't think that game felt especially good. It seemed like it had some ideas, but the weapons I don't think ever felt great. And yeah, I did not get much out of HyperScape for sure. So not too surprising. It felt like that they were not really all in on HyperScape development not long after it came out. It felt like that was a very quick process. So yeah, there it is. April 28th will be the last day of HyperScape. So
Get your games in.
get in there.
Can you still download it?
Yeah, pretty sure it's still, it's PS4, PC, and Xbox One, I believe, is where that came out. In other grand closing news, Sea of Thieves is going to be removing its arena mode on March 10th. The arena is still technically a competitive mode that was designed for kind of shorter sessions and stuff like that. They put out a big long post on their blog in combination with like, hey, here is our roadmap, here are our plans for 2022 and all the stuff we're bringing to the game. They were also like, hey, 2% of players' time is spent in the arena, and it hasn't really moved up or down since we rolled it out, and it's not really worth it for us to devote more time to developing the arena mode, and so they are going to remove it from the game.
Okay.
They had some cosmetics tied up in that mode that they are just going to give to players that reached a certain rank before a certain date. And also there are achievements tied to that mode, which is sticky. So they're investigating what they'll do on that front, because no one wants to have a game with unearnable achievements. That just sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You hate when that happens.
Click on this menu, you'll get them.
Oh,
Honestly, that that's dumb, but yes, also that's probably a clean way to solve it. Is just give everyone the arena achievements and just move on. Let's see. Rumbleverse, the Iron Galaxy developed, Epic Games published, melee-focused wrestling-themed battle royale game that got announced back at the Game Awards. Was originally supposed to hit early access on the 8th and then release the following week. They have pushed that off.
Oh.
And have not given a new date. They are doing a tech test, some kind of play test, a 2-hour session on the 12th of this month for PC. So, they're still. I don't know what they're testing. I don't know. I honestly don't know what's going on. But yeah, the game got pushed off. No new date was given, but they are doing this tech test, and they're giving refunds to players that purchased the early access pack on console. It was going to be a situation where, like, if you bought that early access pack, that's how you could get in early, and then everyone else would get in later. Like not long later, like it was like a week or two, I thought. But they're going to refund those players, which to me sounds like a substantial delay for the release of the game. Not like, hey, we'll see you in a month. There's a quote here. It says, Rumbleverse will be a community that we want to support for a long time. We're going to take the time to make sure we can get that right. And if you want to get in that tech test, you can go wish list the game on the Epic Games Store, is how they're governing access to that. I didn't even know the Epic Games Store had a wish list, but apparently they do now.
Didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
did not know.
But yeah, it's like a 2-hour session. So, if you were interested in that game is cool. I thought that game was really neat. And granted, I know a handful of people that worked on it. I'll just say that again. But it was fun as shit. So
I need more wrestling games.
Yes. Also, yes. More wrestling games for sure, especially more non-traditional wrestling games.
Yeah.
Have you seen that? Those WWE trailers are not doing it for me, which of course they wouldn't. But like,
who would even be in the game? Is it just several Roman Reignses?
I think so. It's just the CGI Roman Reigns doing the fucking animation from the. The game looks better than that. Those things look so fucking bad.
It's so bad. I forgot that they were doing all this AR entrance stuff that the live audience doesn't see. But then I was like, wait, did they? Is something not loading in on that Roman Reigns model? No. Oh, it just does look like that. Right.
Yeah, it just looks like shit. It's embarrassing.
The tribal chief deserves better.
Does he?
You're right.
I mean,
he has a lot already.
Yeah, exactly. Got the bloodline, all this stuff. Anyway, I want to check out that tech test when it happens because I want to play more Rumbleverse. I'd be curious to see what they intend to do to it. I bet I could find out. But anyway, Sega is selling the rest of its arcade business in Japan. They had already sold 85% of it to a company called Genda, and they are selling the rest of it. This is location-based stuff. This isn't necessarily they're never going to make another arcade game again. This just means they don't want to run arcades.
The physical building.
Yes. Yeah. The Club Sega, will the rest of them will be going away, and Genda will operate them under the Gigo or Gigo brand, however you pronounce that, Gigo.
Absolutely. Gigo.
Yeah.
Spelled with J's if it was the soft.
Right.
Nice, yeah. Go.
Club Sega is clubs. I'd spent quite a bit of time in various Club Segas around Tokyo.
Hope the vibe is still there,
Totally, yeah. I mean, like a lot of other arcades were, it wasn't like Club Sega was specifically the greatest arcades. It was just a cool name. And
what do you think is going to happen to Sega Joypolis in Odaiba?
Have they already? I thought they already.
They close or rebrand or something, and I didn't know about it. So that's like for those of you who don't know, it's like an indoor amusement park / arcade / VR multi-floored building in Odaiba.
That's
It's
cool.
like an amusement entertainment center that's pretty fucking cool. There's a little roller coaster in there,
Oh.
all sorts of stuff.
Well, currently they are promoting a free roam multiplayer VR system called Zero Latency VR, and they have a game called Undead Arena that you can play at Joypolis. It does not have the Sega branding on their site.
Oh,
No, it does at the
really?
bottom. It does at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if this affects that because that's not
That's
necessarily
still arcade, or is that just like a entertainment center that's not technically an arcade because there's attractions in it?
They're billing it as an indoor amusement park is how
Right.
they think of it. So they've got something called Spicy Taxi.
Ooh.
Oh,
Sign me up,
which I
baby.
think I've seen some videos of that.
Me too.
Yeah.
When I was there was
it was
a
a game
half,
show, right?
there was like a VR half pipe where you could be
Yes,
like
Half
on
Pipe
a
Tokyo.
Yeah, and
That's
it was
neat.
like you were on like a actual like fake skateboard on a stick, like there was a pendulum, and it pendulumed you up
cool.
and down the half pipe.
Whoa.
I didn't do it because I was scared.
Sounds
It looked a little
dangerous, but
scary.
cool. Yeah.
This website is great. The English, that's Transformers turned into an attraction, and it's like an R360 looking thing that rotates around, and it looks like it is sort of a video game, but really a ride. And it says recommended type, meaning like who should do this? Family, yes. Couple, yes. Group, no. Single, yes. Friend, yes. Screaming, 5 stars. Everyone, 2 stars. Children, 3 stars. Love, 4 stars.
Ooh, love,
Throb,
love.
5 stars. Exhilarating, 5 stars.
Wow,
And they've
that's
rated all the
great.
attractions on this perfect scale. This is
Yeah, half pipe Tokyo. There it is. Oh my god, that's so cool.
yeah, so I don't know, like they do have it looks like they have a Beat Saber machine at this thing, so I don't know that
What?
it's a traditional arcade per se.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, they have like a House of the Dead like walk through haunted housey
they do.
something,
Cool.
something there. Field trip, guys. Let's go.
Yeah, I suspect that place would stay open because it is different enough, but I guess I don't know.
They still have Fortune Forest, which I still have. This was like a fortune telling machine that was like a big, like ridiculous attraction though, and you put in like your birthday and stuff like that, and it gave you like a big printout fortune that was in really bad English, and I
Nice.
still have it, and it said that I should pursue my creativity, and they were right.
There you go.
Wow. What else did
Here
it
I am.
say?
I don't remember. I'd have to find this little thing.
All right then.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I need to go.
God,
stab.
that's still there.
Yeah, figure some things out about yourself. Get out
Right.
there.
There's an Ace
Um,
Attorney attraction. What the fuck? is
Yeah,
this?
there's some kind of Ace Attorney thing there now too. Yeah, it looks cool. I don't know, but yeah, the arcade locations. That's a bummer because you could always count on going to the top floor and finding Virtua Fighter machines. But that was most arcades, even the ones that weren't Sega, still would devote some space to a VF. So, we'll see what actually changes here. I mean, the arcade business, obviously, in a pandemic, is just being beat to shit. So,
Mhm.
the fog gaming didn't work out for them, I guess. Their plans to run streaming arcade games out of arcades into your home, not apparently a no-go,
Ow.
unsurprisingly.
Ow. Okay.
The fog is cleared.
The fog, yes. The fog is cleared. There's another murder victim hanging from the antennas.
Oy.
The Steam Deck will launch at the end of this month, Valve has announced. 2/25, to be exact, is the day that when customers who were the first to reserve a Steam Deck will start getting basically emails saying, yo, you got to buy one now. And they'll have 72 hours to do that. And that Valve plans to release new order email batches on a weekly cadence. And they'll start shipping out basically on the 28th after that first window there.
Almost like too good to be true, right? Like
Yeah.
it seems so smooth that it comes off as suspicious.
I mean, they delayed it already once, so there
they
was
did.
that. But
True,
yes,
true.
there was something very casual about the announcement of just like, oh, by the way, here's when it's out and here's how it's going to work.
Yeah.
You're like, oh,
Couple weeks. That's
Okay.
it. Okay.
I got
I'll
in
just
the
be able to
second.
pay.
I got in the second group of
Are you
people
the
that
Q2
should.
group?
Yeah, I'm in the Q2 group.
All right, me too.
And so I'm hoping that all these people
Forget.
forget. I'm wishing ill on these people. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, I can't buy one of these now. Is like just
Yeah,
so
hopefully
that
they're
my place in
all
line moves up.
Yeah,
bankrupt.
because it times out
Yep.
because it's around Valentine's Day, right?
Right.
And then people will be like, oh, well, I gotta go buy
Oh.
this thing instead.
Nothing says
Yeah.
Valentine's Day quite like the Steam Deck.
Right?
Buy a Steam Deck for your honey.
Very
Yeah.
romantic. It's the most romantic games adjacent thing there could be.
Yeah, you can play it in bed.
Yeah.
Exactly my meaning.
Yeah,
There's a side
It's
for
basically
each person to
porn.
hold.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, you know the
okay.
game's on Steam.
yeah.
Yeah. What, that sex prison
Sex
thing?
prison.
Yeah.
Does sex prison work on a Steam Deck? We need to know.
That's it.
Crysis 4 was announced.
Okay.
I'm just making shit up now. I'm sorry.
It's too long now. That's not real.
No, they put out a little trailer that has kind of nothing in it. And it really feels like something for them to say like, hey, you should come work here because we want to make another Crysis game and we need more people to do it. And there's really nothing to say about the game other than they're looking to make a next generation shooter. Whatever the fuck that means. And they
Whatever it's
call
always meant.
yeah, they're saying even Crysis 4 is listed as a working title, so really not much other than they intend to make another Crysis game, to which I say, did you play Crysis 3? Yeah, maybe. I
think so.
It's not.
I didn't know they were up to 4.
Yeah.
I knew it was up to 4. It was. How long ago was that?
Oh, God. It was on Xbox 360.
Oh, gosh.
So it was that generation. It was 2013.
My
Ah.
God.
Crysis 2 was 2011. So they were like bang, bang with 2 and 3.
Mm.
And yeah, well, whatever. I don't know. It's been long enough. Like the fucking, let me push a button and it goes maximum armor, and I'll be like, okay,
Right. Yeah, I'll fall back into that.
I'll take a look at it. But I don't know. They did those remasters, so that they've been, kind of trying to stoke some level of interest in Crysis for a little bit now. I just feel like that maybe it was just the way 2 and 3 came out kind of 2 years apart. And when Crysis 3 came out, I remember having the feeling of like, Crysis 2 seemed okay in terms of like, we made a console style first person shooter out of the Crysis franchise.
Right.
Crysis 3 just feels like more of that, but not as good. And so I don't know. I guess it's been long enough that those expectations get reset at a point, but it's not something that I'm, well, whatever. Who the fuck cares about me? But I'm not out here going like, finally, Crysis 4. I don't know. It just seems like that ship sailed at some point.
The game could be fine. Like,
Could be,
you know,
absolutely.
Like,
Yes,
it's just,
totally.
Yes, it is undeniable that there is a lingering funk that, seeing that headline sort of, brings back. So I don't know. I feel like we're all mutually having the same reaction to that thing, and we're just sort of like, blah, blah, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
I don't know
and
what
like
it means.
Crytek has been through, done so much weird stuff in that time too. With like Warface? That's them, right? They did Warface.
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 Why don't
That's
I
a
remember
game?
this?
No
What is
one
this?
remembers Warface.
Holy
Warface.
shit. Yep.
That's a 2013 first-person shooter that I believe it is a free-to-play shooter that they literally called fucking Warface.
Warface.
That's gold.
Wow, this is so generic.
Warface.
Wow, I'm looking at screenshots and it just looks like every single shooter.
I remember playing it, trying it out a few times over the first couple of years of its life, and just being like, "All right, Warface, there's no reason to play this game." And then
Yeah.
uninstalling it and coming back to it 2 years later and being like, oh, "Okay, Warface, right, cool." Anyway,
It's like they put every other first person shooter in like a blender.
Yeah.
It's just like, there it is, Warface.
there it is, Warface. I think that's the working title of the game.
Yeah.
It sounds like the name of a game on like a parody show.
Exactly.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, like your Call of Duty parody in some I'm playing. Leave me alone, Mom. I'm fucking playing Warface.
Yeah, it's like in Silicon
Duty
Valley or
calls.
something.
Yeah.
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 It sounds like if you're playing like Jackbox and the prompt is like make up a name for a first person shooter, it would be Warface.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. Blatant Safe Scum in chat says PlayStation Plus is still handing out Warface bonuses.
Oh, all right. Holding on.
Yeah, get
Good
out there
to
and
know.
claim your perks or whatever. Call of Duty, you've heard of it.
Yes.
One of the big questions still kind of lingering around the news that Microsoft intends to acquire Activision was the phrasing that they intend to honor their current contracts with regards to Call of Duty on PlayStation. And that caused people to go like, well, what do those contracts say? Jason Schreier over at Bloomberg dug in and found out. And according to his reporting, these are the details of that agreement between Activision and PlayStation. The deal covers the next 2 years, which should be the next 2 full releases. So the Modern Warfare sequel that is planned for this year, and then a Treyarch game for 2023, as well as a proper Warzone follow-up.
Okay.
Would be the 3 games over 2 years there. Warzone is needed to break away. Warzone being in the Modern Warfare client it's so bizarre to me that is still the case, that they haven't broken it out in a different way or made a native version for the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, and like it still is kind of housed in this last gen console version of this game.
Yeah, they've like done everything but that. They've done everything but cut that cord, and it's just been the sort of like data liability that Warzone, has attached to these other games as it's just a fucking nightmare. I feel like.
Well, it's weird because the way that the console, everyone updates their fake box art all the time now because they're like, oh, when a new season of Apex comes out, they change the logo on your dashboard.
It's the thumbnall logic, right?
Yeah,
like,
they change their stuff, and so the Modern Warfare thumbnail has just said Call of Duty Warzone on it in different ways for like years or something, but it's still, when you hover over it, the text still says Call of Duty Modern Warfare,
right?
Because in the salesy back end or whatever, that's still what it is. And they eventually made it so you could just freely download that client and get just Warzone, but even that is still technically vestigial parts of Modern Warfare. So I don't know. It just and also those are like PS4 and Xbox One games, and they need to modernize that probably more than anything else. Yeah, I don't know. Are you, Jeff Bacalar? You're the only person I know that has actively played Warzone over the past 12 months, 18 months. I don't know.
Jeff
How long has it been?
Warface, Warzone Bacalar.
Yep, that's what they call me. That's my new handle. I just changed
Dr.
it.
Warface.
Update your friends list. So it's funny when you said 12 months, I was like, and then 18 months is like, yeah, that's maybe more accurate. I gotta say, I have not played Vanguard in probably close to 3 months now. We're dipping our toes into Apex. We're doing this now.
Cool.
We have we've
cut one person loose and say, fuck you, we're a threesome now.
Yep, we're like, fuck you, Johnny. You're in Vanguard yourself. We're all going.
Yeah, we're waiting to queue up,
Apex.
buddy.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mine won't connect for some reason. Just start a game and we'll catch up. And it's, look, I haven't played Apex in a couple of years, so jumping back in was one of the more difficult things I've done in a video game in some time. But dozen matches or so under your belt, and it's kind of feeling real nice. And I'm gonna see how much I can get out of this one. But
nice.
It's definitely the move. It is just like pound for pound such a better game in terms of just what it is.
I wish that Apex had more solo stuff. That was, I remember when I think I was on, it was when my daughter was born, part of my paternity leave then was when they rolled out a solo mode for Apex, and I played so goddamn much of it. But I don't want to play those games with people because I'm getting up and walking away to change a diaper. There's all sorts of shit could happen.
Yeah,
so
totally.
I don't want to be a liability to a teammate and all that other stuff. So I just don't play those games that way. But that's the only thing that's really kept me away from Apex is not really wanting to have to round up a friend group and all that other stuff. That game
Totally
plays so well. It feels so good.
Yeah, you forget how much that sliding is so
Oh
awesome.
my God. Yeah.
It's like, wow, I forgot. You can just slide all over. It's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. There's cool stuff. There's the thing I noticed right away was like you can do these, there's currency out in the world and you can do these on the fly upgrades and perks to level up your character and all that. And I forgot, I like the Bloodhound. Bloodhound's just cool. It's just like a cool fucking person character thing. It's just anyway, we'll see how it goes.
I love his Warface.
Yeah, his Warface. His
Wow. They've got a Warface for sure.
Totally.
Mortal Kombat 12.
Oh,
how's that sound?
Right.
How's that sound? The 12th Mortal Kombat game.
It sounds like I've lost track. That's what it sounds like.
This has been teased. Jonathan Anderson, who's a senior production manager over at NetherRealm, posted a tweet for about 10 minutes. This was a silly ass tweet with a bunch of MK arcade flyers and other stuff like this. Video Games Chronicle ran this story, kind of collating all of this stuff together. And you can see a bit of his monitor in the background and see that there's just a bunch of stuff up there off to the side that says like Mortal Kombat 12 and like, hey, watch out for leaks, where the fan base looks at everything we're doing and combs through it and all this other stuff. Take extra care with this material, which just all seems like very much
very cheeky,
very deliberate.
There's like file names on the desktop that say Reptile. It's oh no. I guess the hardest part is to space out the right words you want to appear that have found their way into the picture, right? Like that seems like the toughest part of this little joke here.
Yeah, and I think it's a little joke here because like I don't think that's a genuine like, oh my God, I can't believe I fucking did this. That would be really crazy if you leaked the game and this stuff. It just seems like a super fake thing. It seems very I don't know. It's just the image seems very deliberately framed. And
this guy needs to dust his desk though. Ugh. There's a whole layer of dust on his alarm clock. You can see his finger outline.
In a long pandemic.
That's Sub-Zero. That's actually Frost.
No, it's only 22 degrees where he's at.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. This is
12 degrees.
This lines up with a lot of the reporting around what NetherRealm's next game will be. They had been on this cycle of doing an Injustice game and then doing a Mortal Kombat game and flip-flopping between the two. But with AT&T potentially selling off, or Warner is going to combine with Discovery, and then potentially they wanted to try to sell their games business, and they did sell a mobile studio responsible for a golf game whose name escapes me now. But there had been talk that maybe NetherRealm would be another studio that would make a lot of sense to sell. And so if you're going to not be owned by the company that owns the rights to the DC characters anymore, you're probably not going to make an Injustice game in the middle of all this. And so a new Mortal Kombat makes sense. They are behind in terms of their usual 2-year cadence for announcing and releasing games, which feels weird.
Yeah.
But they did things a little bit differently because they would announce those games at E3 and then release them the following April, and they tightened that schedule up by holding their own event down in LA for Mortal Kombat 11.
Everything's a little out of sync, right? I mean,
yeah, everything's all different. Yeah, all the old traditions are pointless now. It's just like, fuck it, announce your game whenever and put it out the next week.
Right.
Like, how long do you really need of a preview cycle to build up a Mortal Kombat game of all things? Like, other than building awareness that it exists, Mortal Kombat kind of sells itself. So
yeah,
I think that this very much lines up with probably what they are doing over there. They are probably making a new Mortal Kombat game.
Makes sense.
It would make sense. Certainly.
Why wouldn't they be?
Well, because they would normally be making an Injustice game, but because of all this other crazy shit happening, it makes sense to not rely on DC characters.
Yeah.
The only weird thing about this to me is that this seems like something Ed would tweet.
Maybe he logged on to the homies account instead.
Right.
Yeah, that's
He's
the
like, no,
move.
put it over here. Like, I feel like this is just very much in line with the leaks, fake leaks, and fake secrets on top of fake secrets that has been par for the course for Mortal Kombat and announcing those games. So I think that's why it's very easy to look at this and go like, this is all coordinated. This is just them fucking around.
Can anyone speak to the legacy of Cabal? Like, I know Cabal was in MK11. I just want to make sure he will be in 12.
Cabal had a strong presence in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Which
Okay.
maybe means he won't be in the game.
I was going to say, I feel like the takeaway of the movie is not wonderful.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Main
it was
character
not super faithful to the games in a way that main character
I thought was in love with his mom.
yes.
Oh, all right.
Very odd positioning of people.
Very there's a
Talk
weird
about the Quiet Man. I just tuned in.
Oh
Yeah.
no, that would be a fighting
Yes.
game.
no that's a whole thing.
That guy was in love with his mom, I think.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think that sounds right. I've tried so hard to forget all the details of The Quiet Man, specifically so that I can play it again someday and experience it again for the first time.
That's probably the right move.
Out of all the save files I've deleted over the years, I've never deleted that. That completion is good to go if we ever want to kick in the audio tracks.
Nice.
Brave of you.
Good.
Extra life.
Yeah.
No, don't.
Couple more stories here. Discord has rolled out its PlayStation Network integration. You remember last May, there was a little bit of talk like, oh, Discord's up for sale. Maybe Microsoft's going to buy Discord. And then that ended up not happening. And they announced a partnership with PlayStation, which at the time seemed like hey, they're going to try to find new ways to integrate Discord and the PlayStation Network. And then nothing happened for a very long time until, let's say, yesterday when this connection started rolling out. But it's exactly the same as it is for the Xbox and stuff like that, where it'll just show what game you're playing on the PlayStation Network as your Discord status if you so choose.
Yeah, this is not what I want.
What do you want?
I just want it all to be the chat platform.
Yeah.
Like, put it all together. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit if people can see what game I'm playing.
I do.
Or Spotify.
I do.
You do? All right. Well, I feel like half the time I got to hide it too anyway, right? Like,
well, yeah, that's true.
So selfishly, but no, the thing I want is to get all my friends on the same page, because I still have, part of my idiot posse who can't figure out how to use PS5 chat very well in the group chat. And this would just unify everything.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I need this so badly. Like, this is what I want. I mean, if all you're telling me is that the game will display under my status, like, that's it?
Cool.
Is there anything else?
Well, so there is a sentence in the blog post from Discord here saying, we're excited to continue our partnership with PlayStation and explore how we can collectively create great shared experiences for your friends and communities. So it sounds like they're not done.
It's so vague.
Yeah.
It could mean anything and nothing.
Yes, exactly. It could mean, hey, maybe this doesn't make sense to do more than this, and we're just going to leave it at that. But yeah, this, yes, what you're talking about is probably what I would be looking for as well, as long as Discord can stay the fuck out of the goddamn NFT game long enough to not fuck themselves up completely.
Yeah, all they've announced is scrobbling. Like, that's what they're doing.
But I still update my Last FM account, man. I'm a scrobbler from way back. I would love to see achievement integration, trophy integration into the Discord client, the same way that GOG Galaxy does, and that sort of stuff. But also, yes, I am maybe I am more akin to the idiots in your idiot posse, where I don't even know for sure how a lot of the PlayStation 5 party and stuff works. I just go to the game base.
Yeah, Game base.
And then it pops open the game base. What the fuck is that?
It's a fictional phrase. It makes close to no sense, but
Makes no sense.
that's what it's called.
Is it a database for games? Because that when I think about a game base, that's what a game base is.
It's bad. It's just a bad
think
phrase.
It's like a base of operations.
Well, it's shitty for that
Call
too.
it game hub. Call it a hub.
Yeah, hub.
War base.
A hub.
War base.
Game face. What's your game face? Oh, all right. Well, that's
Your
a
EA
whole
game
other
face
story.
in here, and yes, I would love to have a more unified social experience across all consoles. I don't like the very nature of like curating and caring about a PSN friends list and an Xbox friends list. Like I just don't. I just don't anymore. I don't care enough about that stuff. Like if I'm playing with someone, it's because we got on Discord and we're like, hey, you want to do this? Like, oh yeah, hang on. What the fuck is your name? Okay, let me jump through some hoops to add you and do all this other stuff.
All this fragmentation.
yeah.
I mean,
and I like the way PC games integrate into Discord when they do the extra work. Like having Halo Infinite does it, and you can just kind of like post your game invites and stuff like that there, and it integrates really well. The last Mortal Kombat on PC did that as well. And that stuff is cool because it's using the platform you're already using to do the thing you want to do. Instead of like, oh, you need to sign up for another fucking service and register with this, and then this is your name on Street Fighter 5, and then here is your name over here, and then this other cross-platform game, you need your Activision fucking name, and which is separate from your BattleNet ID for some idiotic reason. Yeah, that shit sucks. Discord it may not be perfect, especially if they're going to keep going down this fucking crypto fucking rabbit hole. But if they can stay out of that bullshit, they're doing pretty good.
Yeah,
that's the new cool thing is walking it back. That's the thing to do now. Everyone's doing it.
Team 17 just walked it back. They were going to have some sort of worms thing.
Right?
Wriggled away from
Walk it back now. That's cool.
Not off the hook for that.
Yeah.
Right?
Or just block everyone like Shepard Fairey did. Punk ass.
That is the least punk rock thing he's ever done.
What a fuck. Scum.
I mean, Troy Baker did it too. He walked it, right? Like everyone, let's go.
Did he walk it all the way back, or did he kind of say like, maybe I was a little harsh in my language, but we're still doing this? I don't know if he actually like backed away from the whole project. I at some point I've lost my ability to follow up on these stories. I just look at it and go like, fuck you, idiot. And then
he said he decided not to continue his partnership with
good on him.
I didn't even know what this was called. It was called Voiceverse NFT.
Sure.
And he's done with that. And he's sorry that he called people haters. This says it. He's like, and I have heard you and apologize for accusing anyone of hating just by simply disagreeing with me.
That sounds like someone who has not done the research and learned why people don't like this shit and is just like, oh, this is bad for my personal brand. I gotta cut off whatever this is, but I thought it would be cool money. Anyway, I don't know, whatever. Battlefield.
Oh boy.
Our last story. Battlefield. Love is a battlefield, but do people love Battlefield?
Yeah, there's
signs point to no.
Oh.
I think love is a Warface, personally.
Ooh, title.
Battlefield Season 1 won't start until summertime, and as a result, the Season Pass holders who bought those Season Passes will get some bonus skins.
Whoa!
There is a lot to do with Battlefield. There's a long EA apology post. This is not the first one they have posted for Battlefield. And I am going to say it's probably not going to be the last. Where they talk about upcoming updates and also basically rolling out plans on how they intend to work with the audience to get feedback on their intended changes and features. Which I understand working with the community and all this other stuff, but at some point, I mean, it just makes it sound like they don't know what's actually wrong with the game.
Yeah.
That is what's coming off. It's like, we don't know what to do first.
We're gonna run it by. We are the expert game developers, but oh man,
where do we begin? Well, we sat down and we couldn't narrow it, so we looked to you.
Yeah,
Which is all right.
what
I
do you
mean,
think? Yeah,
we should
sure.
gotta
You
take
want the
that
community to
feedback.
feel
Yeah.
involved. Like that's definitely a part of a process to try to like desperately get people to stick with your game at a time when they are not. I saw some reporting around player numbers for Battlefield. Like even on a weekend, it was like on Steam, it was 8,000 players and dropped out all the top seller list on console. And like it ain't good times if you're working on Battlefield right now, I'm guessing. And also here's from their apology post, or their hey, here's the stuff we're doing. Upcoming updates. It's 3 things. Here's a snapshot of the features we're bringing to the game as soon as possible. Number 1, a scoreboard.
What?
Number 2, all platform voice communication. And number 3, player profiles.
What?
Stop it.
Well, you can't have a scoreboard if you don't have the profile, so that makes sense.
Yeah, that
goes hand in
tracks.
hand. Yeah.
Yeah, those are the 3 bulleted list, like big, bold things they're working on. Then below that, they're like, well, for team play, you can expect us to incorporate a clearer, tighter squad loop, a refined ping system, and an improved reward loop for when you and your squad play the objective. Gunplay will continue to receive feedback-based improvements too. Like, the idea that the part where you shoot the guns in the gun shooting game is part of like, oh yeah, we're going to work on that too.
It probably
is the
should have been ironed
scoreboard-
out before it was released. Yeah.
Well, is the scoreboard so reprehensible in its current form? Is it terrible? I mean,
Well,
I realize
there's
they're
been
not
a trend
adding a
away from
scoreboard.
scoreboards in
Just
a lot of
funny
these
that
games.
It's a bullet point, I think.
Yeah, it's just weird that it's a bullet point. But like the trend has been to get away from like getting players to only care about their KDR.
KD, yeah.
Yeah. In a world where you are playing objective based modes that are much more than did you kill more than you got killed. They try to deprecate that and shove it off to the side, like, you know, hey, you can find it somewhere. And now they're like, we heard your feedback around including 2 tables and separating your own team versus the enemy. Which, yeah, it's weird that they did not do that. The scoreboard was shitty.
Got it.
So, you know, it wasn't like they had one and it was fine. It was like they had one and it was bad. And then also KD scoring and end of round reporting will also be coming in a future update. So like multiple updates for the scoreboard. That's where we're at with Battlefield 2042.
Cool.
This will pull it out of the nosedive, I bet.
Also, right. That's the kind of the other piece of this. It's just like
Now it's good.
I don't like, even if like, let's say 6 months from now, and Battlefield games have launched rough before, but if they had it all together in 6 months, 4 months, whatever, is that going to suddenly bring a ton of players back to the game? I just don't see it.
I also don't see like a skin being a good enough make good if I'm like a Battlefield like person.
If you're someone who spent $100 plus on like the gold version, ultimate version of the game, and they're like, hey, the seasons you paid for, we are not going to launch the first one of those until early summer. And the reason they're doing that is so that they can fix the game. The game needs more than like a season. If they rolled out a season right now in this game, it doesn't do anything because no one wants to play it.
Right.
So they got to do something. But yeah, here's some skins doesn't seem necessarily like the the thing. I just glanced at some of the responses to the Twitter version of this post.
Oh boy.
So again,
Why'd you
take
do
that
that?
with I don't know.
Don't do
I just
that.
want to see a lot of negativity from the responses there and stuff that like I think there are concepts in that game that I don't think serve the game. Like the idea of the specialist that has a unique ability, but also locks you to playing as that character with the way that character looks, instead of just having straight up class systems and some of the stuff that Battlefield's been known for in the past. It just feels like a step in the wrong direction.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like a step in a direction that lets them sell a bunch of skins and a bunch of additional operators down the line. But they can't even cover the standard bases on this. So the idea of even having that stuff just feels way crazy. Some players saying like, hey, they're playing on weekends and when ostensibly the player count should be the highest, and they're getting into matches that are full of bots because they can't find enough human players to fill a game.
Oh boy.
It's not where you want your Battlefield game to be.
Yeah.
Nope.
This is way too little, too late to turn that shit around, I bet.
I don't know if it's too late, but I just think like it's not a great sign.
No, and
the game just came out. I mean,
It's
and
a
then you think
harder
about
hill
the
to go up.
popular, the most popular shooters these days aren't even these types of, Call of Duty is the number one selling blah, blah, blah. But like, you still have the Fortnites and the Battle Royale games of the world that are still doing quite well. PUBG just went free to play. So there's a big influx of players over there. Like the types of shooters that I think the shooter audience is looking for doesn't always fall into the clean Call of Duty and Battlefield buckets the way they did in years past. So I think what that does is it really just shortens the timeline they have to get things back on track, because those players have way more choices and way different types of games that they could go get back into instead of giving a shit about Battlefield patches. And it's rough.
Yeah.
It seems like a rough spot to be in. That's it for news.
we did it.
Yeah.
A lot of it.
There's a lot of news. A lot of news. Why don't we take one more
much.
break? We'll come back. We'll check out some emails here.
All right.
Okay.
And yeah. See you in a bit. I forgot I had this foot pedal.
Oh.
I can still do this.
Oh, that's not.
Foot clashing. Yeah. Love
Yeah,
it.
that's worth it.
Yeah. I feel like this was a good. I feel like eventually I'm going to find the one thing to do with this Stream Deck foot pedal that's going to make it all click, and I'll be like, oh, how did I ever?
Should be you saying Steam Deck foot pedal.
Steam Deck foot pedal. Let's put that on there.
Yeah, I feel like everyone has their own perfect personalized application for it. Like, for me, I don't know, like order some kind of food.
Yeah.
Like I I hit this with my foot, and
It launches EverQuest, and then it types in /pizza.
exactly, and like
yeah.
a chicken parm is headed to my door.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That sounds.
I mean,
lovely.
you use keyboards that are missing a bunch of buttons, so like having some foot buttons probably wouldn't
Keys,
be.
but yeah, I'm
Yeah.
with you. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
for sure.
You'd be like, oh, I need a scroll lock down here. Shing, scroll lock.
It's like, oh, where I have this 65% keyboard. Where's the other 35%? Oh, it's on my feet.
It's down here, baby. Wait,
can't
no,
see it.
down there.
You can't see it, but I'm using it right now.
Oh.
Oh, it's just another like function layer.
Yeah. Let's get to some emails. How about it?
Let's do it.
Yes.
Bombcast at giantbomb.com is where you send those emails in, and then I will hastily look through them and pick out ones that are not about Doritos with salsa on them. A lot of people writing
Jason
in.
is so mad. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
We kind of just let him go, but I feel like
Yeah, after that, we had no choice but to let him go. Yeah.
No,
That's why he's not here this week.
Oh boy.
to let him go talking about salsa. I was just like, wow, I'm not sure. I think I do have like hard stances on food crimes and food opinions, but damn, I didn't realize it was such a hot button issue.
Well, someone did write in to say that they put sour cream on them.
See, that's to me
okay.
that's
That's a dip.
better.
Like, is Doritos a dipping chip but not a
No,
salsa chip? Is that the?
that's the crux of the
Yeah.
conversation, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
can Doritos be enjoyed with any dip? And my answer is no, it can't.
I'm with you. It doesn't need
Yeah.
them.
You know,
What do you got? What is that? What kind of hazy? What is this? What is this? The haziest IPA in the game? How long do you have to wait in line to get that beer?
0 minutes because
It's no duels.
no, I mean I sent a proxy.
Oh, okay. Smart. Smart.
It's actually an NFT I'm drinking.
Great.
Oh.
Great.
Mm.
Guzzle it
I-
down.
There's been the joke of like the IPA guy. It's like that meme's out there. It's pretty. I guess it's
done
fine.
in a lot of ways. It's
Yeah.
feel like it's outlived its usefulness.
Totally. Like
There's an IPA called Dank Meme. I don't
Mhm.
know if that's national or if that's only in
oh, I mean it's probably
Champaign area here.
I mean, it's fine. It's like, people love to dunk on that, and then they,
Meme.
crack open like a Miller Lite, and they're like, I know what's good. So
Yeah. Hell yeah.
fine. It's just fine.
Hell yeah.
Went to a bar that had dank meme on tap.
I want to
I had
get
I had a Malort instead.
Oh, well, that's
terrible. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, but like if you, Malort is a danker meme than any beer named dank meme could ever be. So
Absolutely.
Like beers are described as dank like weed is in the same respect.
Okay.
It's the hoppy, just like adjective.
Like you're drinking a basement.
Like you're
water that
drinking
collected
weed.
in a floor of a basement.
Yeah, like in the French drain of a basement, they they harvest that,
French.
collect it,
Yeah.
and that's
you
what
drink this to get you fucked up.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
Beer's good. I'll tell you what though, I drink a lot of like high noon now too, because
Okay.
it's like sometimes beer, which is, these are probably like north of 200 calories per can, so it's like, all right, maybe we don't need that all the time.
Well, I was gonna say if that's your concern, then maybe not. But I was gonna say, you ever think about stepping it up to the big time and getting into some malt liquor instead?
Yo,
No.
I'm down. My ears have been perked.
That's
Seems
right.
like many steps backwards.
Nice tall can of Schlitz, ride the bull, baby.
I just always think of Super Troopers when I hear Schlitz.
Sure. Yeah.
The only
They make a regular beer. Or they did. I don't know if they still do. But all right. Let's do some emails. Chase from Cleveland writes in and says, I booted up Rainbow Six Extraction the other day and was bored to tears by their really stupid intro cinematic about terrorist aliens or whatever.
Oh,
Then
yo,
it dawned
rules.
on
Shut
me.
up.
Yeah, I know, it's the best part of the game. What are you talking about? Then it dawned on me I could just skip that shit.
Yeah, do it up.
It's
So
not that long. It was
it's-
like a 2-minute long cutscene.
And again, literally
Where
the
you
best part
gotta
of the
be.
game.
Yeah.
So do you find yourself skipping cutscenes when you don't give a shit, or do you feel obligated to watch them, is what Chase asks.
I
Um,
Skip
watch
'em.
every cutscene in every game because I gotta see where do you think you're going with this. Even games I don't like It Takes Two, I did not like, but I was like, I gotta see what they think they're presenting to me that is good, even if I'm not on board with it.
There's been some rare cases. I mean, I feel like, covering games for so long has drilled into me like, no, I can't turn the music off. I can't fucking, skip cutscenes. Like I need to be able to see the game to talk about the game.
Yeah.
And so skipping parts of the game seems like a bad idea, but there have been times where it's like, it's a game I know I'm not covering. It's like years old or whatever that I'm just like, I want to check something out. It's like, oh, fuck all this and skip all of it. But generally,
Or like,
no.
Obviously if it's a cutscene that keeps happening because you keep dying to the boss fight or something.
Oh, of course.
Right,
Right. Yeah.
Obviously you skip that shit.
Yes.
But,
Yeah.
There's very few exceptions, but I just watch it. I feel bad. I feel bad skipping the credits in the beginning of a Netflix show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Someone
feel
made
bad.
that for you.
Yeah.
Like
At least you could do is look at their name for a split
look at
second.
their names. I don't know. I'm biased there specifically, but like look at the names.
Yeah.
Look at that one. I don't know.
I know that person.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's do it, right?
Matt from
come on, that opening cutscene is so fucking funny.
yeah,
I gotta
it's-
watch
I
it.
was-
Yeah.
It's
I was lost
nonsense.
from-
It's beautiful.
I was lost from the very, very second he was talking about that cutscene. It's like, no, it's good. You should have watched it. It's amazing. Stupid. Sorry.
I forgot that game happened until reading that email. I was like, oh
Wow.
right, that thing came out. And
Yeah, when
and I didn't like it's not a scathing, like the game. By the time we were done with that quick look, I was like, oh, this seems okay, or could be.
I had to rack my
Could be
brain
okay.
real
Installed
quick
it.
when you said Rainbow Six Extraction. I'm like, okay, which one was this?
Yeah, right. It's one that just came out.
Oh God.
Matt from Spokane writes in and says, would you buy this? I received an email from GameStop last night telling me they would have PlayStation 5 bundles for sale in store today. Woke up and got in line at 7 a.m. in the 20-degree weather, and this is what they're offering. Am I getting fleeced? So this is a bundle. Let's see here. And I need to move in here. What's in the bundle? It's a PlayStation 5 console. It appears to be the one that plays discs because it's a GameStop and they love discs.
Yeah.
Call of Duty Vanguard,
No,
Ratchet,
you're
yeah.
gonna please.
Yeah, right. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Okay.
A
Okay.
red.
Those negated each other.
Yeah. A red controller, it's an actual DualSense. It's not some third-party weird thing. And a $50 GameStop gift card for $734.96.
What is it? 7 what?
$734.96.
I feel like the math is 1-to-1. So
It probably is. The PlayStation's
Yeah.
$500. The two games are another $140 because they're both $70 joints.
Oh,
right?
okay. The
Well,
controller.
if you return Vanguard immediately and get some more store credit, you can immediately use that $50 store credit
Right.
to buy a better game.
yeah,
in
but
conjunction with
aren't you
that
getting hosed
refund.
on the value of it? Right? You can't
Definitely.
just return it. You can't just return it.
Yeah, no, you
Yeah.
gotta. They'll give you like what, $6 for it. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Yeah, right.
Maybe.
What's the flat cost of a PlayStation 5 with like no
500.
games, no nothing? 500? Yeah, that's a shitty deal.
Well, the 500 for the disc one. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it is the disc model. I feel like other than not wanting a copy of Vanguard and not necessarily wanting a GameStop gift card,
At least you're not getting saddled with like headphones you may never use, or like a camera that's just gonna sit there.
so like the Xbox 360 bundles were legendary bullshit.
Useless.
yeah.
GameCube,
bullshit, yeah.
I remember GameCube bundles were real bad because they were foisting all of this third-party controller fucking
Yes.
garbage on you.
Useless plastic.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, Wii bundles were the
Oh my
worst.
god! Oh, Wii bundles were
Wii
notorious.
spatula. You
Yeah.
know, like what?
Here's all this plastic garbage that you can fucking bolt to your controller and make it suck more. Like, oh my god, what a disaster!
Link's crossbow training.
I
Well, this is
mean,
before that came out, so it wasn't
Yeah.
even the good
Oh,
plastic
shit,
that
okay.
Mario Kart came with or anything. Yeah, no, it was
how does that work? So you can't return the games, right? They just don't let you return
right
the
as
games.
part of the bundle. They won't let you return the games.
So you couldn't just walk out of that and go directly into another GameStop and return the game there.
No, because your receipt says you bought a bundle. So
Oh.
the best you could do is find a place that's going to let you.
Which, yeah.
Which
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, that
is
was
hard.
Walmart for like a decade. I feel like.
Yeah, and maybe you
Walmart's
could get
like,
store
"We'll take
credit.
that back.
Like
We'll
the only time that works anymore is around Christmas. Like you go in a little bit after the holidays, you might be able to like say like, "Hey, my aunt got this
Yeah.
as a gift from me, and
That's the move.
she doesn't have the receipt anymore, and she doesn't know. Like she just bought. I don't have one of these. Can I exchange it for something else?" And maybe you could get someone to fall for it. But
What's the most insane shit you ever returned? Does anything jump out?
I don't know. The most insane thing I didn't return was an iPad Pro because I was buying an iPad for my wife for Christmas this year and it didn't show up in time. So I had like 2 of them ordered and then one didn't show up and then another one. And so I ended up with this iPad Pro that I needed to return to a Best Buy. And then the pandemic got bad again. And that iPad sat in the back of this room for a month and now it is past its return window.
Oh shit.
Oh no, you got another iPad.
Yeah.
I mean, you also got another iPad. That's pretty cool.
That's true.
but-
Yeah, mine was a little bit older, but mine was cellular, and this one is Wi-Fi only. But it's not like I'm leaving the house anytime, so whatever. No. So back in the olden days, I
Yeah.
was friends with someone who wrote for a newspaper and was unscrupulous with review copies of games.
Go on.
And he and a guy who would later on go on to be one of my roommates and some other folks, and I would occasionally go along. This is before I was doing this professionally. Had concocted multi-level schemes around this stuff around like, okay, I've got 4 Super Nintendo games. We're going to go to Tower Records. We're going to, or not even that. It eventually, it was a lot of CDs. He bought a lot of CDs in those days with that stuff, with his stuff specifically. And so there was that aspect of it. And then it was like, well, wait a minute. If we return these full price games at a Toys R Us and then use them to buy these 8 games that are on sale and then take these 8 games to the Tower Records where they're all full price.
Oh shit.
And so you end up in a situation where suddenly like dude's got a trunk full of like 9 copies of Falcon 4.0 and he's walking into an establishment and saying like, yeah, my church group bought these, but their computers aren't strong enough to run it. Can you help me? And then getting like fucking $1,500 in store credit.
Wow.
And
this is what I wanted to hear. This exact kind of story.
an exact level of like fucking early 90s fraud.
Some fucking
everyone-
Coen
I
brothers.
miss that.
Almost every one of us was underage.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Um,
This is some like Coen Brothers ass fucking fiasco shit.
Yeah,
This is what
and
I
we're
want.
just driving around the Bay Area, up and down to all these different
Yeah.
locations. Like they had planned out the routes and just like we're gonna go here, then we're gonna hit this,
Oh,
and
it's
it goes where the
beautiful.
Stonestown and do this, and
heist of the
you end up in
century.
Sunnyvale, and you're like, oh, there's all sorts of crazy other stores down there, and it was elaborate. They would be like full day adventures that you would just like. It was fucking crazy, and for me it was always insane because I just looked at the games and I was just like, I would just rather have the fucking games, but they're not mine. So
Yeah, what were you guys buying with the store credit?
CDs and then eventually DVDs.
That's it.
That was usually how that ended. Occasionally
Payoff, yeah.
you would go for different games, but like I found in my garage the other day some Jeffrey dollars, which was the Toys R Us credit before gift cards existed.
Yes.
And so that led to another. Oh man, I can't believe it. Anyway,
There we go.
So,
this is what
Put
I
that
wanted.
on
This is
eBay.
what I wanted.
Allegedly.
There we
so
go.
Jeffrey dollars would come in denominations of like $10 or something,
Mhm.
and so you would end up with like a stack of them. And if you broke a 10, you would get cash back.
Oh.
And so at that point, you're like, okay, we're taking
Alright.
these Jeffrey 10s to this Toys R Us, and then we're going in here, we're buying a pack of gum, we're paying with a Jeffrey 10, we're getting fucking $8.50 back.
So
Cash.
was the exchange rate 1-to-1?
Yeah, that was as good as money.
Yeah,
Just company script.
basically, yeah.
I mean-
but it converted back into US dollars if you
Yeah,
got
yeah.
change less than $10. And
Yeah.
so
Mhm.
then it became like, well, we've got, I think at one point, dude had over $1,000 in Jeffrey dollars. And
Bought 1,000 packs of gum.
yeah, basically. And you know, it was like, okay, are you going to be ballsy enough, young man, to do this once, go out to the car, walk back in, go to a different counter and do it again? Are you like how many stores can you get kicked out of? And they got
Did you
kicked
wear-
out of some stores.
Have disguises, some different hats.
No,
It's-
nothing that
Stand on
elaborate.
each other's shoulders.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Eventually, I recused myself from it because I got into this business myself and was like, okay, I don't want to be a part of this.
Also, it seems like kind of a time sink, honestly.
Well, I mean, if you
You're
equate
16 and
hours
it's a
worked-
Saturday. What the
Yeah.
fuck else you gonna do? You know,
and
it's
it's
like
like if
I
you
don't know.
equate like hours worked versus the payment, like you are making a decent hourly thing here. Like
Yes.
I love it because it kind of can't happen anymore because companies
Yeah,
have
this is
gotten
all-
too conservative.
it's all
and-
gone.
It's
all
too
gone.
everything's too savvy too. Like everything's like computer backed and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
And
so-
and I love that like it exists in this very gray area where it's not 100% crime, but it's
Those
it's
are their
weird.
policies.
Yeah, like what are
Mhm.
you doing? You're just hacking. You're just taking advantage.
I think the only part of it that you look at that I would look at and say this was wrong was the part where it was games that he was getting in the mail for coverage. That
of
instead of
course,
covering
yes.
them, he was returning them.
The part where he was taking the money out of the register. no, I'm kidding. But yes, I hear what
The
you're
part
saying.
where we
like-
walked in with a pistol and said, "Look,
said nobody move.
I'm going to give you this copy of Sports Illustrated for Kids Football Baseball, and you're going to give me a copy of Uniracers, right?"
Right,
That
right.
was the
Yeah.
yes.
I
Yeah.
felt
Soft
bad for
crime.
stamping my own stamp cards. Never mind.
Oh, that sounds beautiful.
Oh,
Go to
God.
jail.
Hell yeah.
Sounds beautiful.
That unique hole puncher that punches some
Oh,
sort
yeah.
of octagonal shape.
Yeah.
You
when you
know?
wind up
Yeah.
being partners with a teacher that just has hella hole punchers.
Yeah, there
Great.
you go.
Yep.
Fuzzy
Yeah.
crime. Love it.
Fuzzy
fuzzy
crime.
Mhm.
And now Toys R Us doesn't exist anymore. What do you think about that?
Because of you.
Who really
probably.
won?
Who really won? I don't know. Paul writes in with a subject line, "I also want movies at high frames per second."
Okay.
Not
Okay.
again.
Talk
Oh,
about
no.
cherry picking these fucking emails. Go ahead.
Hey, if you want to pick the emails, you can.
I'm sorry that you cut out there.
Last week you were talking about how movies might eventually become higher than 24 frames per second. While it's a novelty right now, I would not be opposed to it becoming more of a thing. I watched The Hobbit in 3D at 48 frames per second and thought it was really cool.
I almost threw up. And I don't get nauseous at anything.
Is that the end of it, or there's more?
There's more.
Okay.
I even made it a point to see Gemini Man at 120 frames per second, even though I knew it was going to be generic action movie garbage, because I wanted to experience it. And let me tell you, it was like Will Smith was standing in the same room as me. I've never seen anything so high fidelity in life like in my life.
Yes. When the issue is not if things are natively shot with that much frames. Like that is fine. Right? The argument.
But I think a lot of people were against The Hobbit at 48 and Gemini Man at 120. I remember at the time people were like, "Oh, this is trickery. Films are meant to be 24 frames." Like people were very stodgy about that part of it too.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I guess if you're like one of these purists, like whatever. But I just my only problem. It's a single issue problem, is when frames are invented. And that's
my question. Was The Hobbit shot
in
48 or was it converted to 48?
It was shot.
It felt like ass. I don't know why.
Yes, it felt like Peter Jackson's ass.
Oh, no.
And then he made Get Back.
Yeah.
Anybody watch Get Back? Is that good?
I saw parts of it. It's fascinating if you care about that shit.
Yeah, it seems kind of amazing that there's all this footage that no one ever saw and it looks real good.
It's stuff that like it definitely humanized them in a way, like watching it, you're like, oh right, they're a band, they're doing what bands do, they're jamming, songs are coming out of them jamming, they're bringing things in that are like, hey, I was fucking around the other night and came up with this. It just so happens that like that stuff ended up being these fucking super iconic fucking songs that generations of people went on to love.
Right.
But like the part where people are like, it's amazing, you see Paul sit down and he does this and then suddenly Get Back is just there, and I'm like, no, that's how fucking bands write songs. That's just like, yes, it's awesome because you know that song, but like that's just how fucking songs get written. What do you think happened?
But that's the attraction to me too. And again, I have not seen any of this aside from like trailers, but the attraction to me is not only seeing the unawareness of like how important the work they were doing then went on to be, but the idea of like taking all of this quote unquote found footage that has never really seen the light of day and then editing it through a contemporary sort of lens, right? So where you have all of this footage that has just like, been under seal for, decades and decades. And then all of a sudden be like, yo, we're 2021 and we're just going to like edit this the way we do shit now. To me, that's the most fascinating dynamic of the entire thing.
It actually is kind of maybe germane to the conversation at hand too, because the amount of processing and work they did on the audio and video, because that footage is super old and like the way it looks is striking and crazy.
Yeah.
And that's why for me, I think the tech end of that stuff is really fascinating too. And it's like, but I'm not going to sit here and turn on motion smoothing and actually do that shit.
Well, that's not what I heard the other day.
But it has a look to it that doesn't necessarily look fake. It just looks like it's doing a thing because it only has to interpolate every other frame. It's, which is not that hard for it's not that hard for this shit to do. It doesn't look that fucked up. In fact, it doesn't really look wrong. It just looks like something that, like, I don't know that I would be able to tell the difference between something that was natively shot at 60 and something that was interpolated by motion smoothing.
I think you would be able to.
Yeah, I don't know.
And maybe you're right. I
can tell. I don't
know. But I don't know. That stuff kind of, but seeing what they did to that footage and seeing how clean it looks, like the fidelity of that footage that was shot in, what was it? Is it 69? I don't know what year it was when it was 60, 70 something, whatever it was.
Sounds about right.
It's crazy how good it looks. It's crazy how they are able, and they have to subtitle some parts of it, but it's crazy how many just little intimate conversations they pick up and are able to show.
It's cool.
And that stuff's nuts. And just seeing like, they probably shot it on film and they can scan it in at whatever resolution, but like that film's been sitting somewhere all fucked up, and like just the way it pops.
Yeah,
the reality of it
film's gonna look good forever.
Is like crazy.
As the source material, film's gonna
technology advances, you can just scale it up and scan it.
It's why reruns of Seinfeld and Friends look fucking awesome.
It's so fun
because they
they shot
those shows on film and they look phenomenal. They look
Yeah.
way better than they ever did when they originally aired.
Is that why
Even
some
though Squatch's
animation
friend,
looks
really.
different as well? Like, SpongeBob came up on the TV the other day, and then I had to think of like when that episode had aired, and it still looked great. I don't know if like Nickelodeon or whoever has like zhuzhed up anything or whatever.
Yeah, animation's different because like I know specifically about South Park because when my wife used to work at Comedy Central, they went back. So like a lot of South Park aired 4x3, but the source was 16:9, and they basically like went back and they were like, okay, we're just replacing all of the source South Park with like what will air as a rerun moving forward. So they did stuff like that. But I don't, maybe that's a similar thing with SpongeBob. I don't know.
Yeah, it was like the weird stuff with like the Star Trek: The Next Generation stuff when they wanted to try to redo that, and it was like, maybe they shot it 16:9, but like on the edges you would see the edge of the set and some of that other stuff that just kind of looked, they weren't planning on it ever being shown that way and stuff. So there's just a lot of weird work that would have to be done, I guess, to do that. I forget what they ended up doing. Let's see. Last question here. We've been getting this one for a handful of weeks here, and I figured take it real quick here before we go. A lot of people wanting to know what the roster of the Microsoft platform fighter should be when they make their own Smash Brothers knockoff. Now that they own all this IP,
oh god,
what do you?
Is
Banjo
John
and
Halo
Kazooie again.
Ryu, right?
What was that?
John Halo is Ryu? Is that what you're
Right?
saying?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Or I guess the Mario, if we're doing Smash.
Yeah, I guess he's the Mario. So what do you? I mean, you put in a Master Chief. You put in a Banjo Kazooie.
Yeah.
They still own Blinks, the Time Sweeper.
I'm gonna say they probably do. I don't know that maybe the rights reverted to the developer at some point, but we're putting Blinks in this game for sure.
What's his face from COD?
We put
Sergeant Price.
Yes, Sergeant Price.
Soap? Oh, okay.
Soap. I
Both.
mean, why not
Put in
Soap?
both.
Why not put Soap in there too?
put Clippy in there.
Yeah, you gotta put Clippy in there.
Clippy
That's like one
sticky.
of the weird ones because you have to have some weird ones like
He's
your,
the Game and Watch.
Rob's Game and
analog.
Watch. Yeah.
Yeah. You're putting like a fucking avatar in there. You're putting whatever the Microsoft avatar thing in there is. Their me ripoff.
That avatar. I was like,
Doom
James
Guy.
Cameron.
Yeah,
Putting Doom Guy. Can you put Doom Guy?
You're putting Doom Guy in
Jeff,
there.
you could put Drobot in there.
I mean, yeah, well, you're putting Drobot in there for sure. You're putting Crash Bandicoot in this game.
Oh fuck yeah!
Spyro then.
This is gonna be a game.
Yo, Tony Hawk.
Might as well put Spyro in there.
Tony
You're
Hawk
putting
can
Tony
be
Hawk
in
in
there.
Hawk.
Yeah.
Wow.
All of World
Do
of
you get
Warcraft.
anyone else? Do you get like a
Alan
Burnquist
Wake?
maybe? Like a
Yeah, like a Bob Burnquist alternate skin for
I feel like
Tony
you
Hawk.
get that.
No,
Yeah.
I think you'd get a Riley Hawk if anything.
Yeah, you're probably right.
All right.
You're probably
Not that
right.
that's a bad thing, but
Yeah.
No,
no Bob. I think.
Wow.
I mean, I would go
Bob,
with. I would love
snuff.
to see a Bob Burnquist. in
Yeah.
there. Put Bam Margera in it. Why not?
Conquer from Conquer's Bad Fur Day.
Yep, Conquer is them. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
You're putting like some kind of Viva Pinata. You're putting like a fudge hog in there.
Ooh, give me
Fudge
some
hog.
hot fudge hog.
Or like you're putting a gardener in there that then calls out the pinatas, much like a Pokemon trainer would.
Marcus
That's
Phoenix.
probably
Like-
the move there.
And
Marcus
Marcus
Phoenix.
Phoenix.
definitely.
Batista as Marcus Phoenix.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna
Is-
write Batista here.
It's just like
It's
Fable
about,
Kid or like Chicken Chaisa, something like that. in
Yeah,
there?
yeah. You could put like a
Kitchen.
Fable
Fable
guy.
person.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
Fable.
put Double Fine
Explosion
stuff in
Man.
there?
Yeah.
Ooh,
I-
yeah.
Alright.
Put Raz in there.
I think you
Raz
put
in
Raz in
there.
there.
Raz could be in there.
He's DLC maybe.
Put the
Okay.
trench from
Yeah.
Trenched in there.
Oh yes, even as an assist trophy, please.
Yeah.
Someone in chat said just put the Kinect in there.
Yeah,
Just
I was thinking like,
fuck.
yeah, like
Oh, that's Rob.
a playable character
Yeah,
that's
Rob.
a Connect in
Yeah.
there. That's
Yeah, that
kind of
is
like a
a
Rob
Rob,
thing.
yeah.
Beautiful job.
Yeah.
Oh,
What
God.
else? I mean, you got Doom Guy, so maybe you don't put any Quake figures in the Quake characters in there. You could. You put the orb. You
Oh.
put orb, the eyeball orb, 2 B's.
Put Steve from Minecraft there.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah,
He's a lock.
Smash Brothers own Steve from Minecraft.
Put in the
And,
damn ocean from Sea of Thieves. That good water.
Wow.
Oh yeah, you could do background stages. You could do a good water from Sea of Thieves. You could do a bad water from Bloodwake.
Oh
Uh,
man.
Let me play as the boat from Bloodwake, the lizard from the lizard from Brute Force,
Nice.
whatever the fuck his name was. You're putting a Battletoad in there, unfortunately.
Vault Boy.
Oh yeah, sure. The Bethesda stuff, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dick Marcinko is
yeah.
going in this game of Road Warrior
Yes.
fame.
Marcinko.
Rest in something. Lord X says put Milo in there. Yeah, Milo from the
Oh, from that
Milo.
demo.
the Kinect demo.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
finally gets to see the light of day.
Oh, you could put the lady from StarCraft Ghost in there.
Oh, sure. You're putting Kerrigan in there, probably. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe a Jim Raynor.
Put in a Matthew
Probably
Rory
Kerrigan.
from World of Warcraft.
Yep.
Senua.
Yeah. Senua of the Sacrifice.
Hellblade, right?
Yeah. I mean,
that's
that's
a-
26.
That's a stacked
Is
roster.
that griddable? Yeah, that's griddable.
Yeah.
Four rows of 6. There you go.
Mhm. And you're doing stages based on Microsoft Excel. You're doing,
Totally.
We get a
my favorite
Skyrim
map.
in here.
yeah, we get a Skyrim in there. What do you, we get the
Skyrim.
dragon,
Dragon Man.
the dragon
It's
from
just
that
the
thing.
cart
Or,
from the
He
beginning
does-
of the game.
yeah. That's a
Horses
stage that's just
glitching
like,
out
yeah,
of it.
you're just on that cart. That'd be pretty good. I thought this was a very dumb idea, and because
No,
of
it's
course, but now that
good.
we've got it out in front of us, I'm like, you know what? That is a
Hey.
weird,
Yo, you could have a stage
weird
that's
fun
just
list.
360 blades.
Yeah. You fight on the blades.
Ooh.
Joanna Dark should probably be in this game.
They have a 1 versus 100 mode.
Yep.
I don't know what that would entail.
Well, they would do the in Smash Brothers. They would do the things where it's like you in the single player game where you're fighting against a bunch of Donkey Kongs or something, right? So you
Okay,
could
there
do
we go.
literally a 1 versus 100 mode in there.
Ah, you're welcome, Phil. Phil,
Yeah.
put Phil in the game.
Sure, why not?
Mhm.
I think you're putting Balmer in there. Just have him shout $500.
You're putting
Flight Simulator.
What's Wolfenstein guy? What's his name?
BJ Blazkowicz.
Yeah, BJ gets in
BJ.
there.
Yeah. I think the id protagonists, I think, are, I mean, BJ and the Doom guy are different. That's
Yeah,
why I
they
think
were-
you probably
yeah.
don't do the Quake Man.
Right.
Frank West from Dead Rising.
That's Capcom.
But the first Dead Rising was exclusive to Xbox 360.
Yeah.
I read.
I mean,
You're
if we get into
doing-
guest characters, then we'll be here all dang day.
Oh, Frank is
No,
definitely
you're
going in
doing
as a guest.
what? Oh, I need to find this character name. Was it Monkey?
The Yeti from Ski Free.
Yes, Monkey from Enslaved Odyssey to the West. That's how deep we're going. baby.
Wow.
I mean, that is a guest.
Yeah.
I think Namco published that, but
Yeah, but dude, that it counts.
yeah, sure.
Ninja Theory
I'll write it
developed-
down because I think the monkey from Enslaved is technically also Goku because they're both
Okay.
retellings of the same story.
I just learned that.
With the me equivalent.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
the
Avatar
Xbox
stuff.
Avatar
yeah,
guy,
you put that in there for sure.
Oh, hell
Um,
yeah. Dude, just get Guitar Hero. I don't know. Like plastic
Yes.
instruments just falling.
Yeah,
That's it. That's it.
Yeah. Well, that could be an assist trophy where all of them are scrolling at you.
Sure,
They're
yeah.
I
hurting
mean,
you.
fighting
Yeah.
on the plane of notes to hit would probably be a
Oh,
good map.
Wow.
That'd
you
be
know.
good.
Microsoft,
Yeah.
where's the money?
yeah. Cameo
mean-
from Cameo is a must-have.
Oh, we're blessed.
Yeah.
Wow.
Um,
Developing games is hard. I'm
but
sorry.
generating this list
It's
was easy.
easy.
We got
I
30
was gonna say,
names.
it's
You
easy.
get
I
throw a
meant to say it's
Zune in
easy.
there as like an assist trophy.
Yeah, throw
Yes.
a Zune in there.
Yeah.
Like, yes, they probably have Zunes in a warehouse somewhere. Just give everyone who plays the game a Zune.
Yo, okay.
Yeah.
So it
Why
also
not?
mentions HD DVDs.
Yeah. King Kong on HD DVD.
Okay.
Let's get Skype in there
Mm-hmm.
somehow.
Just the
Something-
Skype logo.
Something from the game Singularity.
Yeah, like the
Raven
Russian
Software.
guy.
Yeah,
Or just a stage that is rewinding time all the time. would probably
Totally,
be the
a
best.
supremely underappreciated game.
Yeah, I mean, Pitfall Harry, you're putting in
Yeah.
there.
Oh yeah, of course.
I mean,
wow.
And he's only like 10 pixels, and that's it.
right. Yeah.
Is he very small or are they very big pixels?
Big pixels.
Big pixels.
Yeah.
Big old pixels. All right, our work here is done. And
That was easy.
Yeah, that was easy. Send the check courtesy of this station.
You know.
Get to work. All right. That's going to do it for us here. Thanks everybody who wrote in. Bombcast@giantbomb.com is the email address. Again, if you want to send in stuff. And we'll be back next week to talk about stuff.
Someone just said put Bill Gates in it. It's like, all right, that's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, you could.
He can be Master Hand.
I feel like the Bill Gates the Bill Gates is not bringing it in the way he used to in terms
Not the
of
same
draw.
public perception. Not the same draw that maybe he
90s
would have
Bill
been 5
Gates.
years ago.
90s Bill Gates.
Yeah, 90s Bill Gates.
Yeah, 90s, whenever he dabbed, like whatever the dabbing Bill Gates, whatever timeline that was, only that version of Bill Gates.
Yeah, you know, you'd put a Jay Allard in it, I guess.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right? You know, put the stage from that thing when he squatted on the MTV special. Put that
Yes.
in there as a background. Why
the
not?
Silver X Xbox prototype. Put
Yeah,
that one in there.
Fight on that
Yeah.
thing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
do that.
It's crazy when you think about it, because you know it's easy to forget sometimes that, or at least for me, that Microsoft has been in this for a while and they have built their own history and IP and all this other stuff along the way. Because at the time when they were getting in, they seemed like such a outside weird thing that you're like, this Xbox, what the fuck are you doing? Oh, you got
Yeah.
The Rock out here, make
Yeah.
better games, and then they figured it out.
That's it.
The same way Sony did. It was you know, honestly, it was fucking ridiculous when Sony got into the video game business. So yeah, that's just how it goes sometimes. That's gonna do it for us here. We'll be back next week. We'll be talking about upcoming games in upcoming days. Got some
And acquisitions, if there's
yeah,
more.
perhaps presumably, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Dead,
There'll be 10 by next week. So
no, not Dead. Dead Rising 2 is out this week. Dying Light 2 is out this week. We'll be taking a look at that later on in the week. So come through and check that out. We got some other stuff going on too. See you soon. Bye.
bye.